Sit him down.
Crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Where'd everybody go?
I know, it's just you and I.
Just
Connor's in
you and me.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
He's got basketball. It's opening day for hoops. We got a lot of feelings about
I have several
Saturday.
feelings.
Yeah. I'm looking forward. As soon as I get in my car, I'm going to listen to Josh's hours of rage on this show. It's safe to say, though, Otson, that things have not really worn off on a lot of people. If I'm gauging between our interactions, I had some emails yesterday, but then also today and on Twitter of just a tinge of frustration. And here's the beauty of it.
They haven't calmed down?
No,
Okay.
and we got 2 weeks of this because it's a bye week.
You got to sit in it.
That's it. Yeah, you got to sit in the dirty diapers.
Just got to sit in it and just.
Yep. Oh my God. I'll let you use the line later on in the show that you just came bursting the door with, because it just should be the theme of this Monday, of all of the shows on Monday.
Yeah, I got something for this football team today. I am first of all, you're going to hear several things you normally don't hear on sports radio.
Oh,
I'm going to tell you that I was wrong.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you I'm with the fan base now. Like I feel like they feel.
You're calling for jobs and whatnot.
Yeah, they told me, hey, didn't look quite right against Northern Iowa. And I'm like, Northern Iowa scored 3 points.
Yeah, right.
What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
They might have been right.
The cracks were maybe in the facade. We just overlooked it because winning cures a lot. Winning can deflect your attention a little bit. And you're a football guy. You see good college football every week with Iowa Western.
I am a football guy, yes. Number one, Iowa Western.
So at least you have that going for you. Not all of us are that lucky right now, Josh.
Hey,
because I also root for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of room on the bandwagon, everybody, if you want to come on down to Council Bluffs sometime.
Yeah, I know. Good football, like predictable in a good way. That they're going to show up.
I know what they're going to do week in, week out.
They're going to show up. They're going to be well prepared. Here's the one thing, and again, I don't want to take too much away from what your show is going to be today, too, but I did appreciate this much because I was almost half expecting it, of some philosophical breakdown of what happened Saturday by the head man after the game on Saturday. I'm glad he was a little bit more, yeah, that sucked. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sucked. That wasn't good. All right, we'll take your questions. As opposed to, well, you see these guys, and you have this, and there's this squirrel, and the squirrel goes, nope.
It's all part of the plan. You go, you rise and you fall. You rise and you fall.
Yep. It's yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. The guy on the other sidelines only coached 8 games, and he just beat you, made you look stupid.
This was Gary and I are talking about the casual nature as to which sometimes Nebraska just goes about their business offensively, and maybe even as a team. But then you look across the other sideline where
so casual.
Yeah,
that's a great word for it.
Deshaun Watson is just. Oh, did I say Watson? I'm sorry, Deshaun Foster.
Happened on the broadcast quite a bit as well.
Yes, it did. Sorry, Deshaun. Sorry, Coach Foster. That was not intended. But they've got the coat unzipped, the white T-shirt underneath. By the way, he
looks good.
Some great
on that
retro.
Sideline.
Yeah, he does. And the great retro Jordan. Mm-hmm. That all those guys are different colors and everything. They look cash, but I tell you what, their play was anything but. They look prepared. See, this is the thing I've been getting a lot from, I don't want to say the defenders, but people that are like, well, yeah, but keep in mind. And even Matt Rhule sort of alluded to this is, yeah, but they were coming off of a bye week. Yeah, but they were coming off of a bye week. Did you see how Nebraska looked coming off of a bye week? Yeah, I'm sorry. That excuse to me, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Just, like, you're down 2 scores, right? Like, what are we?
Oh, you mean
lackadaisically?
Don't worry. Hey, crowd, calm down. We got this.
Maybe you run up to that line of scrimmage. Maybe you call 2 plays.
Oh, whoa.
Run them both back to back.
What a novel concept, Josh.
Just
wow. Yeah. I was telling Gary, one of the great microcosms of the season is that moment when the crowd was urging the offense to have a little pep in their step, a little sense of urgency. And they're like, hey, guys, keep it down. We're trying to get our offense organized here,
Trying to work here, guys.
Yeah, we're trying to do our job here. And you guys keep telling us to hurry up. Maybe we should. But, yeah, it's just that was such a weird, bizarre moment where the Nebraska players are trying to quiet the crowd because the crowd wanted them to move faster. Wow.
They're trying to tell you something.
Yeah, it's bad. And it was supposed to be so much better. Not, whether you were 8 or 9 win person, that was always going to be a little more of a challenge. And I think we acknowledge that. But to make it that hard to just get the 6th win, and they make everything look so hard offensively.
Even when they did try and rush it, like right before the 2-minute timeout, like, that actually wasn't the spot to rush it. I probably would have. You had to get the play right more than you needed the 8 seconds or whatever.
100%.
Yeah, and I was a 7-win guy, and I'm like, this ain't.
I admit I was
looking right.
I admit I was 8.
It still can happen.
I know. Hey, technically, mathematically, it can. Although I'm watching Iowa just absolutely punk Wisconsin, thinking, ooh.
People thought Wisconsin was going to win that game. Idiots.
Iowa's got an offense.
People thought Michigan State was going to beat Indiana.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Then you saw it happen there too. It's not good. It's not good. So we got college basketball today. I'm sure you're going to be firing on all cylinders in that one.
What am I supposed to do with that?
If you need a break, that's the thing. If you need a break, unless you want to watch some Monday Night Football tonight, some Chiefs, but if you need a break from football, if you feel like you're a little burnout for a moment, just not saying you're done with football, but you need a little break. You can dig into a couple of matchups if you want to. I know you're a huge Husker basketball fan. So
excited to see how the boys look against UTRGV.
Yeah. I mean, all you need to know, you'll find out in 2 halves of basketball in that game.
You going to dip into Maine Duke tonight?
Actually, I probably will because I want to watch Cooper Flag. I just like if and see that's the kind of the thing today is if there is either now there was 3 decent matchups. Is Baylor Houston?
Baylor Gonzaga.
Baylor Gonzaga
at 10:30.
Yes.
Good job, sport.
I know, right?
A showcase game between 2 top 10 teams, and you stick it at 10:30 at night.
That's really going to mess up my sleep schedule, but. But when you do have that player, and it's not every year, but like when Zion was with Duke, like, okay, I got to watch that. I don't care who they're playing. So I'll watch Cooper Flag at least run around for a half.
So
basketball.
I received a text from my brother today at 9:33 in the morning.
Okay.
Also, random thought, Cooper Flag won't be 18 until December.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to watch a 17-year-old.
I didn't.
And the number 1 pick in this upcoming draft.
I knew it was like a college basketball player.
Yeah.
But
you're like, who is this guy?
I didn't really know who we were talking about.
So I'm telling you what Odson's going to be doing and what he won't be doing tonight. But he'll be hot taking Nebraska hoops after tonight.
Also, I mean, it's a multi-screen night because you got Elon, North Carolina right after.
That's true.
Right after
That's
that.
True. Well, this is all in preparation for a big day tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
The revealing of the college football playoff.
Oh.
Did you think I was going somewhere else with that? So we did get some more door-to-door activity.
Door-to-door activity.
Yeah. There was there. It was present. Now we missed.
Who hasn't voted yet? I'm the only one who hasn't voted yet because I like to walk in to the church or the government office.
You like the sticker,
and I like the sticker, and I also like that there's nobody there. There's never. I don't know why you all are voting early because there's never been a line. I'm 39 years old. I've never had to wait in line to vote.
Well, sometimes, your lunch break is indeed that. You want lunch and you don't want to have to vote. I don't know. Why, by the way, why, when we get our ballots, that when we send them in, I know part of the problem. Why don't we get a sticker? I want a sticker.
It should come with a sticker.
Yeah. I early voted today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that always the cool thing? There's the 2 things that I've always noticed. Is on Ash Wednesday when you come back to your workplace and you got the ash on your forehead. And then
that's right.
If you voted, you wear that as a badge of honor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I voted today.
I'll wear that sticker.
And if you're not wearing the sticker, people kind of look down at you like, oh, what? You don't care about democracy?
Oh,
you don't care about our country? So you didn't vote? You just don't care, do you? You're part of the problem. Like, actually, I did. I just didn't feel I needed to wear the sticker all day.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, no, I'm too cool for the sticker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you get the if the sticker is an option, you get it.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it. But see, I don't get it. When I get the mail-in ballot, I don't get a sticker. It's kind of I think it's a big miss. I wouldn't have minded because we mailed our ballot in on Saturday. I wouldn't have minded walking around Saturday with a sticker that said I voted today. People wouldn't have like, first of all, I might have confused some people like, wait, I thought we have till Tuesday. Maybe that's why they don't do it. They don't want to panic.
Sure. If I saw a guy walking around wearing a sticker, I probably would go, oh no.
Wait a minute.
I got to do that today?
What the hell is today?
I'm so busy. God dang it. Would have been a nice conversation starter on Saturday as opposed to other things people probably asked you about on Saturday.
You mean the conversation of who'd you vote for?
No. Saturday, yeah, probably would have rather talked about that.
Might have actually been a better conversation.
Let me break down Tony Vargas versus Don Bacon for you instead of
would have been less
that
divisive
football game. Yeah.
Less divisive, that's for sure.
Oh, I think we're all on the same page on the football game.
Actually, that's true. I think we're a united front, unfortunately, for the coaching staff right now. We weren't supposed to be having these conversations this early in the tenure. And I think there'll be different conversations after the year when it comes to people involved in the staff. But wasn't this year? I remember having this conversation at one point during the offseason of, you got to at least get to 7. Even 6-6 is going to have its warts. Like 6-6 to me doesn't necessarily point to progress. Is there anybody right now with 3 remaining games, which means you obviously have to win 2 out of 3, think that 7 is even a possibility right now?
I would be hard pressed to find someone.
I'm going to say
there's always one person, right?
Like, they'll win out.
Yeah, no, they'll win out. They'll
still get to 8. It's cool.
They'll play like they did against Ohio State versus all those teams and win.
Yeah, because that shows up once every 4 games now. Nothing about this team makes sense yet. It's so predictable.
Yeah,
like I felt Saturday's result was so predictable, even though none of us predicted it.
Back-breaking turnover coming. Oh, yep, there it is.
I was telling Josh before we came on, it would have been so on brand for Nebraska, though, because I remember this after the Taylor Martinez, Tommy Armstrong thing, that they would have came in, or Heinrich would have came in, just would have chucked one out of nowhere. They score, Nebraska wins, and then we have a quarterback controversy throughout the bye week. Did you guys see look at the way the players played behind Heinrich?
They like him more. They respect him more.
Yeah, they cared for him more. They played harder.
He's not a legacy kid. He worked his way from the middle of Nebraska.
That would have been the conversation.
It would have.
So in a way, I'm kind of glad that didn't happen. Like I would have gladly taken a Ja'Cory Barney end around to house it. So then we don't have to worry. Well, did you see the way that they blocked for Heinrich in there? It still doesn't matter as long as Heinrich was the quarterback. And if they would have won, there would have been a couple people that would have said, hey, they play better under Heinrich.
Hey, I'm just saying, we don't have to like it, but that's what happened. We're not in that locker room every day.
That's the other one.
We don't know what they're saying about each other.
Every cliche, because we've been through it before too. Yeah, we're not in that locker room.
Yeah, like, although,
God bless us all.
Other than the result, I really did like the ball Heinrich threw.
It
ended up getting intercepted.
It was a good pass.
Yeah, threw it so hard.
I know, and we've been told
so much zip on it.
Now remember, the guy that we have been criticizing a lot told us in the offseason, Heinrich's throwing the ball a lot better. Looks like he's got a better arm these days. Now, remember the arm he had a year ago. So to say, like, he's improved, okay, but what does that still look like? I don't know. This is going to be a very long 2 weeks.
It's going to be a very long 2 weeks. It's going to be a very long month of November.
Yeah. Yeah. If they cannot, and again, now I don't even know why I'm doing this, Josh. You go out to USC, God only knows what to expect because it's Nebraska coming off of a bye week, which ain't great. But it's also USC that's in.
It worked for UCLA, though.
Yeah, exactly. You worked for UCLA, worked for Indiana. USC will also be coming off of a bye week, and they've been pretty decent at home. Now are we once again circling the Wisconsin game? It's at home. Stop me if you heard this one before. They're kind of struggling right now. It's at home. I mean, that's got to be the one, right? I'm not falling for it. I am not falling for it. I hope they get their 6th win against USC because I won't see that coming. Although last Friday I said if they beat UCLA, I think USC is on the table because USC they're in their own heads too.
USC is a game where, oh my God, someone has to win this game.
Exactly. You got 4 and 5 versus 5 and 4.
It's like a really mid version of Ohio State, Penn State.
Yes.
Somebody has to win this game.
Somebody's going to win this game. We'll see how it goes.
Somebody's going to feel really good after this game.
Oh my gosh. And hey, a lot of Nebraska fans are making their way out there. That was going to be kind of their pre-bowl trip. Now it might be their only.
Now we have to go to the USC game. It might be the only time we get out this winter, honey.
Like we're going to get out to Southern California. That sounds all right. Yeah, it's fun. Fun times ahead.
I saw Brett McMurphy, his bowl projections, the rate bowl.
Okay. It used to be the guaranteed rate bowl. Now it's just the rate.
Now it's just they're no longer guaranteeing the rate, I guess.
You got to enunciate that one too.
Again,
otherwise, you're like,
that's right. You got to really hit that T against Baylor.
Oh, the story.
The
former Matt Rhule team versus the new Matt Rhule team.
And also the flip side to that, I think Nebraska should have hired Dave Aranda. Guy is going to be chirping.
He's back
that whole month. I didn't know Baylor was anywhere near bowl eligible.
I didn't either. I remember, I think the only time I watched 4 quarters of them was against Colorado. And a game that, give them credit, they should have won. They lost that on a Hail Mary that sent it to overtime. But
Baylor 5 and 4.
Yeah. They're trending that way.
They have a win over Tarleton. Tarleton.
Solid squad. Usually really physical up front too.
That counts.
It sure does.
Baylor's won 3 in a row.
And what has Nebraska done?
Who knew this?
They've lost 3 in a row. Okay.
God.
Yeah.
We had Aranda on the wheel.
Oh, he was on. Yeah.
He scored highly.
Okay. So did you guys have Aranda on there? Because now I know I did, because at the time I liked Aranda, but also there was that desire that, you got to retain Mickey Joseph, and Dave Aranda being an LSU guy.
Yeah.
Has a relationship with Mickey. So of course he'd want to keep Mickey. So that was at the time,
everybody,
that was a win-win.
Uh-huh.
And so that was where I also put a little bit more oomph to Dave Aranda.
I believe it was a factor. Yes.
Yeah.
That does ring a bell.
I'm not saying that we are going to do the wheel. And I know you guys did the wheel of coaches. I'm not saying that is going to be a thing again next year, but are we going to have the wheel of OCs? I kind of hope so. I don't ever want anybody to look. People have families. I never root for people to lose their job, but my gosh, when you're making over $1 million, it's got to look better than that. It has to look better than that.
I would strongly suggest that it look better than that.
And this is not to say the defense is blameless in this too. Like nobody did their job. And then just for good measure.
Didn't like what I saw there either.
And then we get a PAT that's missed too. For good measure. It's like, oh, don't worry. We got this too. Third phase. Yeah.
Sometimes
can't be the only ones doing our
sometimes
job.
When a band is out there and they're doing their thing, they'll give you some new stuff, but they'll always play the hits.
They go back to the originals.
Always play the hits. That's the reason you're here.
That's like Nebraska football summed up perfectly right there.
Doinking PATs. Yeah. Here's a little something off our new album. It's called Only Running 3 Plays in the First Quarter. Don't worry. We'll get to doinking PATs later.
This is a big hit that's actually tested well. Run 5 running plays in a row. But then we'll go back to the oldie. Abandon the run game again.
I'm going to play a new song for you. It's called 100 Plays with and goal to go and no points.
Isn't it one of the most painful things to watch them try to score from the 5?
Yeah.
It looks so hard.
It's now I understand the field shrinks. It's difficult. Like a lot of teams struggle, But I
see enough
struggle inside the 10.
Where it's like, could we also get maybe a penalty or something that could help it along the way? Because you'll watch that game, and then you'll go to your next game that you're watching that day or night, and you'll see handful of teams get to the 5, and they score like it was a bodily movement. Like they just boom, they're in.
Oh man, everybody went left and the play went right. Yeah. Oh, they walked right into the end zone.
That almost looked too easy. Wait, you're telling me it can be that easy? Yeah, it actually can. It really can.
Yeah.
It does. It's like, oh my God. Like I was telling Gary, it felt like when they scored to make it 2027. It felt, or I should say 20. Yeah. 28 or 27, 20. It felt like you just got done running a marathon. It was exhausting to see them finally score. The amount of time that came off the clock. All of the things that happened in that moment and that was during the crowd trying to get him to move it along a little quicker. And they're like, no, we're good. When they got to that point of it, it's like, Jesus, cool. They scored. Can we expect them to do that again? No, because there's not enough game time. You need another day. They need another day to be able to score another touchdown.
You actually did get the stop you needed.
Yeah.
Like, great. Good job. You defense played fine in the second half. And just...
It was bad. It was bad. I know you'll have the head coach on, hearing the head coach, 11:30?
11:30.
Yeah.
Going early today.
Yeah.
That's because of the basketball, right?
Well, the basketball and I think the bye week they do. I don't even know if they're practicing today. Maybe they are.
Yeah, we didn't even know if he talked today.
Yeah,
we're like, it's a bye week. But Matt Rhule, very gracious with his time, very transparent.
And Mark Manning. You guys gonna have Mark Manning on today?
We probably will not air that.
You're not going to. Okay. Damn it. Come on. What are you guys doing? Yeah. So is Connor calling in?
No.
He's just straight PA mode today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it is opening day.
It's opening day.
Very
23rd ranked Nebraska women's basketball. People forget.
Yep.
The Britt Prince show debuts.
I gotta say, I'm very intrigued by that.
Actually wish I could.
Will she be Caitlin Clark?
I will watch the highlights.
Yeah. I'm into it. I'm curious.
Another great move that college basketball has made today. They have I would guess a rising star still in Juju Watkins.
Yes.
And they put her in a game at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. It's in Paris, though.
Oh, well, then there is that. I mean, do they honestly think like everybody's got the day off today? Like, or tomorrow, like you're taking election day off tomorrow because you get the Gonzaga game tonight?
Well, nobody plays on election day anymore.
I know, which it's fine. But yeah, these times don't make a lot of sense.
I understand the NFL is king and there's an NFL game tonight. So you are trying to avoid the NFL game. Maybe just play at night. Yep. Maybe just
see what happens.
Maybe a late afternoon game. Yeah. I understand. You're in Paris. I get in that instance.
Yeah.
That's not really an option. Hey, let's play at 4 a.m. in Paris. That's not going to happen.
Would have been cool if they did.
It would have
actually been really, really cool. I'm sure for them, but
the French adjust to us.
That's right. Okay? That's right. Come on. This is America on the eve, by the way, too, of our democracy.
Yeah.
Is on the line.
They all had to early vote.
Ooh, do we know? Did USC get a chance to vote already?
Hopefully I would assume so.
Hopefully they did. I'm hoping they did. All right, man. Have a fantastic show.
I'm going to yell at some people for 4 hours.
Just pace yourself. Just pace yourself.
That is a good tip.
That is the best way to go about it.
Just see the thing. I got so much, and I'm really bad at like.
I know you got to hold on to it for
doing
multiple hours.
Notes. Yeah. Like I just this is a vibes based show.
Yeah.
And I'm going to forget some of the takes.
I think your interaction is going to take you to different places.
Yeah.
That's just call me crazy. That's just my guess. Based on our 4 hours and even yesterday, getting a lot of interaction yesterday too. And big red overreaction from Saturday night. I have a feeling you're gonna be going different angles on this, different places.
Okay.
So,
I want to leave you with one question.
Yeah.
Because it just came across the Twitter feed here.
Okay.
This NFL voting is important. You should go vote tomorrow. All the former NFL players are telling you to vote.
Yeah.
And it says Andrew Whitworth, NFL legend.
Legend?
Do you agree with that?
No, he just played later in life. That's all. That's it. I'm not going to say he's a legend. I mean, his longevity was impressive.
I think maybe you go with Super Bowl champion under there.
when you tell the story of all the NFL legends, I don't know if you ever tell the Andrew Whitworth story.
I think you could even go with fashion icon.
Yeah.
Andrew Whitworth.
Wears the hoodie with the blazer.
Literally all the time.
Yes. And every time in his last 2 years that they would show the headshots, you thought that was his dad because he was very, very gray.
Yeah.
But legend?
NFL legend, Andrew Whitworth.
I'm not going to say he was the most highly coveted guy every time there was a free agency cycle and he was available. So, but that's just me. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you flaunt the Super Bowl champion part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when the story of the NFL, though, is told, Andrew Whitworth, it takes a couple chapters to get to Andrew Whitworth. I might be way off, though. Maybe I'm not respecting the season or the career.
Thank you for going.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I just saw that last night.
When you said legend, and my eyebrows immediately raised.
Really?
Okay.
Legend? It's an NFL produced commercial. They're going to gas up their own guys.
And they're trying to ramp up the Thursday Night Football product on Prime.
Sure,
I get that. Yeah. All right, my man.
Okay.
Have a good one.
That's the crossover brought to you by Everlevel. You can find them online, everlevelconcrete.com. I didn't know if concrete was in there. I wanted to get it right.
I was gonna finish that for you, but
it took me forever. We got there. Hey, I'm here till 2. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
What the hell was that on Saturday? What the actual hell was that on Saturday? It's the Connor Happer Show. I am producer Josh Odson. Connor is not here today. He would rather be at a women's basketball game against God knows who than sit here and talk to you about this football team. Can you believe that? The audacity? Whoever the hell that is the Omaha Mavericks, by the way. So Connor is at the PBA this afternoon. He'll be doing his PA duties. Quite honestly, I respect it. I'd rather be there too. But we'll do this fun thing. We'll dip in because we have the rights to broadcast Omaha Mavericks games. So we'll dip in to the coverage there, see if maybe we can hear Connor go for three, or whatever he does there on the PA at Pinnacle Bank Arena. So you got me today. Connor did go above and beyond the call of duty as he talked to Mike Schaefer last night. He sent me that conversation, and we will air it for you here today. We're going to talk a lot about this football game. I don't want to. But sometimes in life as an adult, you have to do things you don't want to do. And today is one of those days. So we will do that. The best way to get a hold of me today is going to be through the Twitter, through the YouTube. You can watch all of our shows 6A to 6P on YouTube, Twitch, Zone TV. .live is where you can find the moving pictures to go along with the crystal clear audio you get from us each and every day. The Equitable Bank inbox, also a great place to find us today. Josh O at 1620 thezone.com. JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, also a good place to get at us at Happer Show or producer_Josh. We will talk about winning football here in about 10 minutes or so. Head coach of the number 1 ranked Iowa Western Reivers, Scott Strohmeier, will join us. We will heap praise upon him for winning his 150th game this weekend. Just a ho-hum 48-7 win over the number 10 team in the country as they are looking down the barrel at yet another playoff berth and potentially a third straight national title. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We like to go 1-0 each week in Council Bluffs, but I will try and make Scott Strohmeier look past that one win. We'll also be joined by Sam McKewon, fresh off of Matt Rhule's press conference. We'll carry it for you around 11:30. We'll hear from Matt Rhule. We'll talk to Sam McKewon at around 1 o'clock today. Everything very loosey-goosey on the show today. I want to prepare you for that mentally, physically, spiritually. I'm just going to do whatever I want because there's no one in this room to stop me from doing that. So that is, I believe that's all the housekeeping we have today. We'll get to some other things that are happening in this building later on in the show today. Got some fun stuff planned if you are a longtime listener of 1620 The Zone. But I guess let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do this. You're allowed to lose, okay? I'm not one of those Nebraska fans that like, nope, you're Nebraska. Your brand is stronger. You should win every single game that you come across. That's not the expectation I hold for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. You're even allowed to get blown out in my book against a team like Indiana. Does it hurt? Yeah. Does it suck? Yeah. Is it embarrassing? Yeah. But it is also possible that you are not there yet, and it's fine. Now, take a step back. I understand Coach Siggs has been there like a week and a half and has that thing humming. I get that. I get the frustration there. I get the frustration with the, UCLA's coaches coach their 8 games and just beat Matt Rhule in Nebraska. Trust me. I get that. I also understand what Matt Rhule is talking about with sustainability, slow builds, things like that. So I see both sides. It's not the loss that bothers me. It is the listlessness with which you lost. Here's another thing. You don't hear this often on sports radio, so I don't know, mark it or tell a friend that this happened. A guy on sports radio is going to tell you that he was wrong. I was dead ass wrong about this team. I'll admit it. I'll be blunt about it. You said you had concerns after Northern Iowa. I called you crazy. You said UCLA had been playing better as of late, and I openly mocked you for saying that. I was dead ass wrong, okay? No, I'm going to sit here for 2 weeks, and I'm going to hold this L, okay? Me personally. The Indiana loss, it made Nebraska fans question everything. This loss to UCLA, it has shaken me to my core. Concern everywhere. First, real doubts I'm having about this staff's ability to get the job done here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. First time I've ever had to look in the mirror and go, oh boy, I don't know if this is working, going to work, however you'd like to phrase it, feel free to do so. How do you go from championship mindset against Ohio State to down 27-7 to UCLA with Ethan bleepin' Garbers carving up the defense? Nebraska's losing literal fights to a 2-win UCLA team. Is it as simple as playing down to the competition, playing up to the competition? I don't know, because you got your butt handed to you against Indiana. You didn't play up or down to them. You didn't play against them. And of course, Nebraska fought their way back only to throw an absolutely devastating interception with the game on the line. Like, just the most obvious outcome in the world, right? Just, Connor and I have talked in weeks past about how the, oh, here we go again thing is overblown. Boy, I'm sure you all saw that coming from a mile away. I know I did. I sat there. I was in my car actually listening to it on the radio. I didn't get out of my car because I said, well, there's a couple minutes left and they're driving. I guess this game could go to overtime. And I had to sit there and listen to it knowing exactly what was going to happen. And sure enough, it happened. Some things are absolutely inexcusable. That loss Saturday was one of them. Touchdown favorite at home against a 2-win team with the opportunity to end the longest bowl drought in Power 4 football. Gotta have it. You gotta have it. No excuses. Really hard to sell the fan base on progress after that. Oh, but I know the stadium was quiet, so that's why they lost. Nope, not having that debate. I will not have that debate with anyone. It just doesn't matter. Oh, but the first quarter really took them out of the game. Well, there's 3 quarters left. There's quite literally 75% of the game left. Be better. Like Mike Tyson said, who maybe we'll talk about later today. Everybody's got a plan until they got hit in the mouth. Nebraska got hit in the mouth on Saturday and looked like they did not know what to do. Oh, but they fought back, Josh. They fought back. Showed some real grit out there, some real toughness, some real perseverance by not lying down. I would argue you can't get down 20 to win UCLA. You scored all your touchdowns because UCLA not gave them to you, but extended those drives for you. You were struggling. Now, here's the part where I have my I'm a Nebraska fan hat on today. I'm not producer Josh Odson, member of the Nebraska media. I'm sitting with you guys today. I'm riding with you guys today. I have my fan hat on, and I'm emotional still. I am irrational still, and I think that's okay. Because we got 2 weeks to ebb and flow and explain this away or talk ourselves into certain things. Today we're just going to sit in it. And I'll tell you what, tomorrow when Connor gets back, we're probably just going to sit in it still. And then we press on. And then we move forward. I finished the Red Sox documentary. What the hell is it called? I don't know. It doesn't matter. The Red Sox documentary. So you know what it's about. On Netflix this weekend. And it dives into the very gross Dan Shaughnessy. Just everything about him is gross. His look, his vibe, his writing, gross. But he did write one thing that seems apt today. And if you know the story, you know where I'm going. Yeah, I'm going there. It dives into his 2004 column where he called the Boston Red Sox a pack of frauds. And God help me, right now, I feel that. I feel like this staff and a lot of players on this field are frauds. It hurts me to say it. It pains me. Literal pain in my stomach. I don't feel well saying that. But the inconsistency and the inability to do simple things has me wondering who deserves to have that N on their helmet. Who deserves to be wearing that Nebraska quarter zip or whatever it is coaches wear nowadays? It makes me question who deserves to be employed by the university. I've been here long enough. Okay. Like I haven't been here as long as everybody at 1620 The Zone. But you know I'm not, quote unquote, the Jack Mitchell type. Okay. I'm not the overly emotional, oh, that was a real kick in the nuts Saturday, and I knew it was coming the whole time. That's not me. Normally on Monday, I'm telling you to calm down. But today, I'm here to tell you, I'm never sky is falling guy. But damn, this team can't string together 2 positive plays on offense. On either side of the ball, really. Like, sure, the defense played well at times. But again, allow me to say it because I believe it bears repeating. Ethan Garbers was tearing the defense up. You got out-coached. You got outplayed. I don't think they were outmatched, but, you know, result's the result. I think we're kind of past the time of come to Jesus meetings, but a come to Jesus meeting might work. If you haven't done that yet, I assume you have. After Michigan last year, seems like that was probably a come to Jesus meeting, the Sunday practice. There was probably a come to Jesus meeting after the Indiana game. At a certain point, come to Jesus meetings don't work. The next step is heads on pikes. Whose head deserves to be on the pike the most? 951-1620. No. I've got more notes on the game. I have less inflammatory things to say. That was probably the most inflammatory thing I have to say. I don't know. Give me another hour or two. I can get riled up again. We're going to step aside. We'll come back. We'll talk to Iowa Western football coach Scott Strohmeier. We will exhale. And then we'll ramp it all up again. Matt Rhule is going to talk at 11:30. Mike Schaefer, Sam McKewon. We got a lot to do today. Stick with us. It's the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh filling in right here on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, analysis, and commentary in a clean, concise, and disease-free way.
See there?
What a relief. Thank God.
Wonderful.
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
$16.20 The Zone, Connor Happer Show. No Connor today. He is at women's basketball in Lincoln. Look, we got plenty of time. We got 2 weeks to talk about this Nebraska loss to UCLA. If you're trying to call in, sometime in the noon hour is going to be more when we can get to you. But right now, we're going to talk about winning football, a winning football team, a winning football program with a winning football coach. It's something I think we need in these parts right now. Friend of the show, Coach Scott Strohmeier of Iowa Western, joins us. Coach, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. So 48-7 over the number 10 team in the country Saturday. Win number 150 for you and for Iowa. Well, not for you. You have more than that, but Iowa Western. Win number 150. Can you put that into words?
I've been coaching a long time. It means I'm getting older, right? For sure. But no, I mean, it's obviously really good for this program. I mean, we're in our 16th season, so we played, 15 and three-quarter seasons, and for the program to be able to win that many games in that time is pretty impressive, and we've got a few more to try to add on to that.
I want to go back to the beginning of the season. You were in some shootouts. Both of your first two games ended on a failed 2-point conversion. You won one of them, you lost the other. How much better is this team than they were the first, 2, 3, 4 weeks of the season?
Yeah. Well, I think we're playing, sometimes when you have so many new faces early in the season, especially at this level or any level, you can only base it off of practice and kind of your gut of who you think should be out there playing. And we've made a lot of changes. Guys that have, stepped up, guys that ended up getting healthy that maybe been hurt early on in the season. And it's kind of been our MO, to be honest with you. The last few years, I wouldn't say that we've started extremely strong if it's on one side of the ball or the other, where this year, in years past, we've kind of hung on our defense to get our offense kind of rolling. And this year, we had to hang a little bit on our offense early on to allow our defense to get back. And they're playing at an extremely high level right now defensively. And, we have some firepower on offense that gives us a chance, and that's so from, just in being on the poll call, from some of the teams or coaches that we played early, like this is a completely different team today than it was week 1 and 2 and 3.
To talk about those first two games again, for those that may be listening that don't know how those games went, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, a lot of teams just ran to the outside on you. They were able to turn the corner and you get a big chunk play. Do you feel your defense has come around and would be able to stop a thing like that? Because I don't know, you might see Georgia Military or Hutchinson again before the year's over.
I do. I think, looking back on those games, we had some plays that, it comes down to a guy has to make a tackle, and we didn't, or we missed, we misfit in the run game, and that gives up a chunk, because we gave up some chunk runs of, when I'm talking 70, 50, 60, 70-yard runs, that normally doesn't happen. But I think schematically, now how they're going to try to attack you. Week 1, they attacked us totally different than what they've shown anybody, right? And so that was an adjustment. And then week 2, we kind of knew how they're going to try to attack us. We just didn't make plays. We did in the second half. We did in the first half. Second half, we played really, really well defensively against Hutch, and like I said, just came up short. So, I like to think that, and the thing is there's so much more confidence in our players today than there was early in the season. And, we've got pick again, and we got 2 picks on the year, and that it took us 7 games to get to an interception, and so I think our guys are playing a lot more confident, and I think we're playing, we're calling it, I think, offensively and defensively more towards our personnel than maybe in the past, where we can just line up and our front 4 would destroy their front 5. And so we have to do make some changes defensively and schematically and try to put these guys in good situations.
One of those stars on the defensive side of the ball, we talk about it on the broadcast a lot. You have a defensive back that is your leading tackler, Lucas Struck, 56 tackles. That's 22 more than anybody else on your team. He was tackling a lot of people early on in the season because there were some missed spots. But he is another in a long line of Iowa Western defenders who just make plays. They're undersized, probably didn't get a look coming out of high school like he thought he did. Can you just gas up Lucas Struck a little bit for me?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, gosh, we were nervous this summer. We almost lost him to an FCS school, and he wanted to come back. And the guy just works his tail off and prepares and is a leader and does everything right. Sometimes there's maybe some limitations, but he knows them, and he's played really, really good. Like I said, I would say the leader of the defense, to be honest with you, just the way he's been performing, but studies the game, always trying to keep our guys keep their composure, and knows, like, he was on the sidelines when our 2s and 3s were in the game, and he's calling out, based on their formation, what their tendencies were to the guys out on the field, and I think you can't have enough of those guys, and we're fortunate to have them, and he's put himself in position that he's going to get an opportunity to play at that next level because of his performance, and he didn't perform at that level last year. He didn't play and just kept working, and put himself in a great position.
And one of those guys who has been to those next level schools that we talk about, your quarterback, Hunter Deckers. What were your expectations of him before the season, and what has he lived up to? What has been different than you expected about your quarterback? Coach? Oh, no. We might have lost him. Or he hated the question and hung up the phone. I'm not sure which. We have a lovely phone system here that always works. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a little break. I'm going to find out where Coach is. I'm going to make sure he's safe. That's first and foremost. And then we'll see what happens. Okay? Still got Schaefer on tap. Still got Matt Rhule at 11:30. Plenty of Huskers talk. Don't worry. I know. We're coming back. 1620 The Zone. I have found Coach Strohmeier. He's safe. He's sound. One of the other JUCOs in the country did not try and have him taken out. Just a bad phone connection, but he's back with us. Coach, I'm sure you were in the middle of a beautiful answer about your quarterback and the expectations, but we didn't hear any of it. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, when you bring a guy like that in, there's expectations. I mean, there's excitement of what you can do offensively, and he's another coach on the field. Knows the game extremely well. We put a lot on his plate. So it allows you as a coach to do a little bit more. Where sometimes in some key situations throughout the year, we're not afraid to throw the football, because he's made good decisions and like I said, knows what's going on and goes through his progressions and does all the things that you ask that you want a quarterback to do. So, I mean, he's lived up to them. He's did extremely well, and we wouldn't be in this situation if we didn't have him for sure. And excited to see, because it's kind of some of our other guys are kind of improving more and more and more, and he's building more confidence with some of our receivers and what we got to do.
I heard a podcast this weekend talking about how hard it is to build a cohesive offensive line nowadays. And it was something that I hadn't, my dumb, not football brain hadn't really been able to wrap my mind around. Can you kind of speak to that with like the transfer portal and all those things that have players moving in and out, zigzagging across the country, how hard it is and how important it is to build a cohesive offensive line?
It is tough because, like we get guys, for a year or two, and can you imagine if you have a bunch of guys for 5 years that, the thing is with the O-line, they work out together, they hang out together, so it's more of just the off the field things that build that cohesive unit. And, I thought, our guys have done a really good job of believing each other and working towards the same goal. So, it's challenging though. I mean, when you're moving guys in and out, and they got to make calls, they got to know the buzz of the guy next to them, kind of how he does different things, and it goes so unnoticed. Like you can have some really good offensive linemen, but if they don't play together, and you always say, you have some mental breaks or some mental lapses where he thought he was going to do this or that, but and that happened. But I think from beginning of the year to right now, I think we're playing at a really high level across the board up front.
I've lost him again.
No, you got me?
I got you. Whew.
Okay.
Coach, we're rounding down the home stretch. I know you like to go 1-0 each week, but I'm in the media. I like to look ahead. I like to tell stories. I like to build narratives. What is the most crucial thing for your team down the stretch as they try to make the playoffs, and then once they get in the playoffs?
Well, I think we nobody can say they played the absolute perfect game in all three phases. So I think there's still room to improve in some areas that I think we made improvement from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And that we cannot overlook anybody. I don't care what the record is. I don't care how talented they are. Like we've started the playoffs, and our goal is to play a home game in December. And so whoever's the next one ahead of you, the bullseye's bigger. And she's seen it the last couple of weeks from, we had unbeaten beat the FCS school, number 19 in the country. We had the Division II school that lost to an unbeaten, so you can't overlook anybody because they're all wanting to play, and they want film against Iowa Western. And for prove that they can play at a high level. So just to stay focused, I think, is probably the biggest thing. Kids look at schedules and they look at records and they look at teams and they watch film. But we've played in some of those where they were tighter than they should have been because we weren't focused. And we got 2 road games and two tough places to play and travel to. So really just stay focused and know what our end goal is, and that's to get into the playoffs and be a host team. And in order to do that, we got to win the next 2 games.
Coach, go out and win them, and prove all those doubters wrong. You always find the doubters, it seems, and you do a great job of getting those kids ready to go with an ever-growing target on their back. No home games left, so I have nothing to tell the listeners to come out to. Potentially a home playoff game if you go 2-0 down the stretch. That would be fun to have everybody come out to, but keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll get people out. Should there be another game at Titan Stadium this season, Coach? Thank you.
I appreciate it, and that's the plan. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he is. 150 wins at Iowa Western in 16 seasons. That is Scott Strohmeier, one of the best you're going to find doing this. So we thank him for his time there. Apologize to you for the phone issues that we were having, and for just generally bearing with me as I talk winning football, because I can't talk about Nebraska for 4 hours. I don't want to. I'm not equipped to. So that one was for me, and I appreciate you all hanging with me through that one. Do want to let you know here, we'll talk to Schaefer. We'll hear from Matt Rhule in, let's call it 20 minutes, as we have live sports on the TV. Juju Watkins, USC, the 3rd-ranked Trojans. They're taking on number 20 Ole Miss. Did you know Ole Miss was ranked 20th in women's basketball? I'll bet you didn't. They're in Paris. 0-0 in the first quarter. 8-14 and counting. As USC picks up a rebound. We will not illegally disseminate. We will not do that on this show. We're better than that. Do want to let you know, the email is out. You can get those picks in week 9 of the $25,000 4-quarter pick 'em. It's officially here. If you are a subscriber to 1620, the email. If you're not, you have to wait till tomorrow. Well, what's the big deal, Josh? I'll wait till tomorrow. But we're picking 10 winners of football games this weekend, straight up, not against the spread, just straight up. You tell me money line, as they call it. Who's going to win? You can make your picks, get a piece of the prize. $25,000 we're giving away this season. We'll give away $2,500 each week. You could walk away with a check for $2,500 if you get the most picks correctly. It has happened from time to time that multiple people go 10-0 because you're geniuses in this audience. We keep saying it, and you keep not believing us, but it's true. The tiebreaker is whoever gets their picks to us first. So you want to be subscribed to this email. You want to opt in. Everything it asks you, hey, are you okay with this? You cool with this? You cool with this? Check all those boxes, opt in, and we'll get you the email every Monday morning. The losers will have to wait until tomorrow to get their picks in. 1620thezone.com. When we come back, I believe, we'll have time to talk to Mike Schaefer. Connor talked to him late last night. We will hear their conversation about, as I said to start the show, whatever the hell that was on Saturday. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer coming up next. 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone, Connor Happer Show. No Connor today's in Lincoln for women's basketball opening day. But he was nice enough to do one thing before he left. He was nice enough to talk to his good friend, one of his many, many former co-hosts, Mike Schaefer. They talk about the Nebraska loss, whatever the hell that was. I'm sure there's some other things, but I would really like to hear what Mike Schaefer has to say about Nebraska football, wouldn't you? So we air that for you here in its entirety. Connor Happer, take it away.
That is right. It is time to have our weekly Monday therapy session. I don't know, with Mike Schaefer of Husker 247 joins us now via the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Schaefer, hello. Happy Monday. How are you?
You know, I'm now considering, could I have been a therapist in my career? I like listening to people talk. I like hearing people's problems. I like giving unsolicited advice or even sought out advice. I probably could be a therapist, but I don't know that the advice that I would give would be the right advice. I don't even know. Do they always give advice, or is therapy sometimes, like it's just someone that you can talk to and bounce thoughts off of? It doesn't have to be advice.
Yeah, I think it's more of like listening. Weirdly, I mean, everybody's got a podcast and everything like that on a Sunday, especially after a Nebraska loss where the sky is falling. I feel like all of the Nebraska media is actually equipped to, do some sort of therapy because of the amount of times they've had to control these things over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's its own form of grief counseling at the most inconsequential level whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still football. It's still football after all. All right, Schaefer. Let's get into the game. I'm gonna tee you one up, and you can play some fall golf with this and just let it roll all the way as far down the fairway as you'd like it to roll. When you think about the game Saturday afternoon, what made you the most emotional is one way to put it, because I found myself parsing through the game and it was just different things that sort of got on my nerves. What ended up giving you the greatest sort of reaction, whether it be in the moment or afterwards?
I think after the fact, like last night, finish up the post-game podcast, like I'm done at that point. And I'm just sitting there about to put something on to zone out because I've reached a point where I no longer want to watch Wisconsin, Iowa. And USC, Washington was entertaining, but I just didn't need to watch it. Now I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking this all was, in a weird way, very, very, very predictable. Nebraska goes and loses the way it does to Indiana, bounces back and plays well against Ohio State. You talk yourself into, all right, the defense isn't going to have another letdown performance. The offense can at least sort of manage the ball on the clock and do a few things and put some points on the board. You've got a UCLA team that is having a really tough go right now in the Big Ten. They're coming off of a win in a bye week, but they've got their own issues. They're a one-dimensional team, yada, yada, yada. And then I got to the stadium on Saturday. And I've had some version of this conversation with a few different people, but most notably Michael Brunts, because we ride to and from the stadium. And I sit next to him during the game, and we're down there on the sidelines. But I saw you on the sidelines, too. There was no juice or buzz around the stadium. Mm-hmm. It was gloomy. Even warm-ups with the players felt like there wasn't a whole lot of, atmosphere or build-up or excitement or emotion. And I don't want to – I want to make sure people don't misrepresent this. It has nothing to do with the fans. I'm not talking about the fans here. I'm not – it is not your job to have that team ready to play. You're not the ones that's supposed to do that.
Right.
But as we have learned, the defense especially plays off of vibes and good emotion. And that game started and they couldn't get off the field and they were on their heels immediately. And everyone sits on their hands, and it's an 8-minute drive. An 8-minute drive where the best thing that happened was that you only gave up 3 points. That was the best thing that happened. And so it was a combination of I should have saw this coming, or at least been prepared for the idea that it was coming. And then on Saturday, I should have pivoted before the game started and really prepared myself for what I knew was happening when I felt that environment. because I knew they were going to come out slow, and they did. And they gave UCLA just enough of a lead that they didn't have it. By the time Nebraska got into that game later in the third quarter, it was too far, too gone. They could have come back, yes, but it requires them to play much better football than they're largely capable of doing.
I feel like it's a common refrain after games like this happen where it's like, well, we've been here. It just feels like it's, every other loss or bad loss just sort of wrapped into one. And I hate to do that, but it's so true. I felt even as if even when that game was playing out, I felt like, all right, Nebraska is clearly, they're sleepwalking today, but here's what's going to happen. They're going to score this touchdown to make it a touchdown game and then give themselves a chance to tie the game or win the game. Obviously they missed the extra point, so they had, very little chance to win the game in regulation, but to get the ball back and then get down the field and, throw an interception. How many, I know there's the chart that goes around from our friend Stumanji every time one of those drives happens, but Nebraska just it never happens in those drives. So it was a sleepy day and they had to wake themselves up, and it was also predictable. And it just felt like Schaefer, it just felt like it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago or 8 years ago. It just felt like it all felt the exact same as it has for a long time.
I mean, you can pick the performance if you want. Bruns tweeted out about Clayton Thorson for Ethan Garbers. That's 2015 Northwestern. There was shades of 2017 Northwestern in there where it's, again, you're in a season where you just need to take control of an opportunity of a home game in early November to kind of set yourself up going forward for the rest of the month. You're not able to get a win there. It's shades of last year where it's Michigan State, where you think to yourself, what a massive coaching advantage Nebraska has on its sidelines right now. That never played out against Michigan State. It didn't play out against UCLA either. I mean, it's just it makes you wonder how different coaches, different players, different opponents, and yet the result is largely the same. Nebraska can't stay out of its own way. Nebraska can't create for itself, which I think was a big part of Saturday. I mean, you didn't have an offense that could do things for itself for large portions of that game. You didn't have a player that could take over that game for you, which is sort of damning about where Nebraska football is at right now in 2024. When you can sit around and you go, all right, well, who's the best player in that game for Nebraska? Your choices are either Ja'Cory Barney, a freshman wide receiver that had like 89 yards and a couple nice catches, Brian Buschini and his 3 big punts.
Yeah.
But nobody on defense went and made a play.
Yeah.
Isaiah Nair had a couple nice catches, but that was it. Otherwise, you weren't seeing a lot of him. Whether it's Harburg or Dylan Raiola, when Harburg had an opportunity to reinsert himself, not necessarily for the long-term conversation, but to be like, all right, I can be this guy. I've been in this situation. I can go do this. He was 2 of 9 with an interception. I mean, a nice pass on the 4th down. And it felt like he had a couple passes that could have been caught. But there's just, it's the same thing every time. You're waiting for people to make plays, and Nebraska just doesn't make plays in crunch time. Different coach, different players, different staff, different opponent, same result.
Yeah. And people, I think you go further down this thing, Schaefer, and the people who we thought, oh, these guys are here to sort of pull Nebraska out of this. Dylan Raiola is the person sort of everybody looked at. Yeah, he's totally got sucked into the quicksand. What happened? What has happened to Dylan Raiola gradually over the last 4 or 5 games here, to where he looks absolutely nothing like what he did in the first 2 or 3 games of the season?
I have so many shades of sophomore Adrian Martinez right now. Like, I can't shake that. It feels like this is a player that is hurt, so he's trying to play through those limitations. He's got an imperfect offensive system that he's having to make up for some of the flaws there. It feels like he has too much going on in his brain, so he's not able to just react and go play football and do what comes natural to him. He's so late on some of these decisions. Like, even a really nice play to Ja'Cory Barney, the ball's behind him. Like, Barney's not catching that. one of my biggest beefs with Nebraska in 2024 is nobody gets to make a catch and then run after they catch the ball. It's always like they have to make an overly difficult play to then catch the ball, and then they're either immediately tackled or they're catching it while falling down, or they're having to come back to the ball. So by the time they turn around, there's 3 people there to get them out of bounds or to tackle them. And, part of that is the timing isn't there. They're not in sync. The rhythm isn't there with the offense. And some of it is Dylan Raiola is processing. He's processing slowly because I think he has a lot going on in his brain. He went from the first month of the season just looking like a guy that's just letting it rip out there to a guy who's just trying to make the 110% correct decision on every single moment of every play. And instead of, you're going through your scans, it's like, all right, that guy's open. What about, should I take a peek? Should I see what else is here? No, he's not playing. He's trying to react to everything. And I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's just part of being a freshman. I think some of it is that we got a glimpse really early on of what he could be, and Nebraska was successful. And so then you expect him to be that. And maybe it was fool's gold. He's certainly not getting helped by the offensive play calling or his teammates on offense a whole lot, whether that be pass protection, whether that be the running game, whether that be run blocking, whether that be wide receivers winning one-on-ones, whether that be play calling. So, yeah, I mean, this isn't the same guy in the Illinois game. I keep going back to that. That Illinois game, that looked like a guy who's going to dominate the conference in future years.
Yeah. We
haven't seen that version of him in a long time.
Yeah. Something changed in that game, and it's just slowly sort of collapsed in on him. Like you said, Schaefer, like all this other stuff is obviously not good around him either, and that has an impact, but Raiola is certainly not who he used to be. So with what you were talking about before, Mike Schaefer, Husker 24/7 is with us, recapping Saturday's Nebraska loss to UCLA. With how this is sort of feeling the same as it has for the last however many years, Nebraska has still 3 more opportunities to get a 6th win. I don't know how you feel about this. I feel in at least one of these games, they'll play well enough to win it. If not win it, I don't really have much, much doubt about this team's resolve. They always do that. They always sort of bounce back. How are you feeling about the final 3, especially after what will be a very long bye week?
I mean, I know no one is going to want to hear this, but it feels like they could win any of those 3 games. But as we saw on Saturday, they can also just not show up too. So it's or I shouldn't say they showed up by the end of that game, but they could also just start slow and put themselves in too big of a hole. I mean, that was the other part of Saturday night. You're sitting there and it's like, if Nebraska wins against a team they're supposed to beat at home, you're looking at that and it's like, all right, your next opponent, USC, is trailing right now to Washington, or now lost to Washington later in the night. Iowa's just blowing the doors off of a Wisconsin team that 3 games in the middle of the year against Northwestern, Rutgers, and I don't remember who the other opponent was, that Wisconsin just kind of beat up. Purdue. I had a lot of people thinking that was a far better Wisconsin team than it probably is. And so they're in the same – they're going to be 5-5 by the time they come to Lincoln. So they have opportunities to win these games, but is the coaching staff going to put them in position to go and win these games? Are guys going to go make plays? Is someone on defense going to get a hand in front of the ball when a quarterback starts a game 11 of 12? Is someone going to rip the ball loose out of the running back's hands? Is someone going to block a punt instead of just being in the neighborhood of it? Like, is someone going to make plays? If I know the answer to that is yes, and I think they can win games. But if they're just going to hang around, and right now they feel second half of this season, other than the Indiana game, I mean, they feel like kind of a team that just hangs around. And maybe you win, maybe you don't. They're just going to hang around to lose all 3 of these games. Are they going to seize a game? I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence that they can be that team, but I don't think they're playing anybody that's overly difficult or that's going to make them look terrible. You could argue Iowa's defense, but Nebraska's played this version of Iowa for a decade. It shouldn't scare you. It's no different than it always is. They'll be in that game. It'll be close and late. It's whether Nebraska can avoid the mind-numbing mistakes that beat them every year. The answer to that is probably no.
Is this an opportunity in the final 3 games? And this is obviously, redshirt dependent with some guys. I think especially on the defensive side of the ball, is it an opportunity to get a little younger and sort of push this thing forward, let those guys get the opportunity to play? Not that you're throwing in the towel for the season, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of guys who have played a lot of football for Nebraska and keep kind of consistently making mistakes over and over again. Could it potentially be an opportunity to get a little bit younger, especially on the defensive side of the ball with 3 games to play?
I would guess that's probably not going to happen because I'm assuming you're talking about in the secondary specifically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't look for them to make any dramatic change there. Now they might get a guy some run in the game. He might get a few more snaps or something like that. But I'm not expecting a Deshaun Singleton or an Isaac Gifford or a Malcolm Hartzog. I mean, those are kind of the 3 guys that I think have all sort of been how do I put this so it's not unfair, but they've all had struggles. We'll put it that way.
Sure.
At various times, and especially over the last month. I don't know that they're going to do a whole lot there. I mean, I think that they'll play some young guys here and there. I don't know that you're going to get a wholesale, we're going to go youth movement. Because I don't think that's what Matt Rhule wants to do. I don't think that's what Tony White wants to do. Unless, a Caleb Benning or a Larry Tarver or someone shows that they're ready to step in and be that guy. Offensively, I would have a different answer where it's like, all right, it's time to just get Carter Nelson on the field. Because what are we losing here? It's not like you're throwing for a bunch of yards and you're gaining all this offense and you're going to lose anybody if you have Carter Nelson on the field. But you've made the decision to burn his red shirt, and he's playing on a critical 4th and goal that you need that touchdown earlier in the 4th quarter to give you a better chance to come back and win that game. So you've got him in key situations. But why is he playing like 20 snaps or 15 snaps? Let's see some more. So I think it's player dependent. But, yeah, I want to see more Carter Nelson. I want to see more Willis McGahee if we're talking the defensive side. I would like to see some of those young defensive backs, but I don't look for them to move off of sort of their veteran defense if they can avoid it.
Yeah. Well, Schaefer, it's one of those games where there's no shortage of things to dive into. So it'll be a long couple weeks before Nebraska kicks it off against USC. Schaefer, we appreciate the time as always. We'll let you go, and we'll talk to you next week.
Well, enjoy the ability to talk about this UCLA game for 2 whole weeks. Always nice to get one of these right before the bye.
There he is, Mike Schaefer, talking with Connor Happer. Appreciate those guys hopping on and chatting with each other last night so we could play it for you here today. Okay, we have Matt Rhule. He's at the podium. We're gonna clear some space for him to go because I imagine it could be a lengthier press conference or it's going to be super short. I don't know actually, but before we go to break, I just want to temper your expectations because a lot of you are diving in our YouTube chat and going, if he doesn't fire Sadie in this press conference, I'm out. You're going to be out, okay? Because that's not on the table today. Let's just clear out expectations. And also, during that conversation, Happer and Schaefer, we had a Pete tweet. I'm just going to read it, okay? Word for word. Here's where I go. Sources. Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola is expected to be healthy to return for Nebraska's next game, which is at USC on November 16th. The scans on Raiola's back issue came back clear after he left the UCLA game in the 4th quarter on Saturday. He continues. Raiola left the game against the Bruins in the 4th quarter after getting hit on a quarterback scramble. He tried to re-enter 2 plays later and hobbled from the huddle holding his back before he went down on the field. Raiola said his back locked up on me after getting hit in the wrong spot. Again, I'm just reading the Pete tweet. Nebraska's 5-4 and attempting to clinch the program's first bowl game since 2016. Ow, Pete. Ow. So nothing to worry about. Everything's good, right? We will hear from Matt Rhule in his entirety at the podium in Lincoln next on 1620 The Zone. All right, without further ado, let's take you to Lincoln Matt Rhule at the podium for his weekly press conference. We take it away, Matt Rhule.
He's doing. Ramir Johnson hurt his ankle, was not able to finish the game. We'll have to wait and see, how Ramir's doing. Other than that, I'll take your questions.
What's the biggest challenge for you this week?
I think this week, Mitch, is a week of introspection. After the last 3 ball games, I think it's for me as the head coach, looking at everything that we're doing. I think it's for each assistant coach looking at everything that we're doing. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? I think it's for each player. Bad organizations point fingers. Good organizations look at themselves, and this is a tough time. So we have to be a good organization and look at ourselves and challenge ourselves. And it's also a week of recruiting. That was disappointing on Saturday. Yet I'm in the office at 9:00 on Sunday, meeting with recruits that were there and came in the next day because they do see a great game day atmosphere, a great place. They see us playing freshmen, and so we'll hit the road as well. So I think it's a lot of, like I said, a lot of introspection. At the same time, we have to get ready for USC, and so we're gonna game plan them today. We're treating this this isn't a bye week. This is a game week for us. We're staying here late tonight working on USC. We worked on USC yesterday, so probably those 3 things kind of in a combination.
Given the struggles on offense, it's 18.1 points a game in the conference. Would you consider changes to help jumpstart it?
I think my job is always to consider everything. I think part of that is what are the problems, what are the issues. It's looking at everything. So I think one of the first things I'm doing this week is I have a lot of friends in the business, had some outside people kind of come in and look at, hey, tell me what you see. And I think that's probably at least in my history, one of the best things you can do is just have a fresh set of eyes, look at it. And so I'm going to have some people that I trust look at both us on offense and on defense and kind of look at what we're doing and then go from there.
They come in here physically.
Yeah, I'll bring some people in here this week.
From your perspective, what do you feel like is not working with the offense?
It's a great question. We're not able to run the ball to control the game. I'm a big believer that you have to be able to control the game, and we were able to make some big plays in the game, but we weren't able to handle the third down pressures to stay on the field. And as I've said to you guys before, it's very hard because I don't want to throw the kids under the bus. Or I don't want to throw, because it could be one person here, one person there. I just think at the end of the day, we get a couple of big plays, then all of a sudden we're off and running, but we're not able to run the ball consistently enough, and we're not able to stay on third down. So I'd say it's a little bit of everything, to be quite honest. I mean, I think if you watch us, we're just not playing well enough on offense to have a chance to win. And then, the last 2 games we're facing, Ohio State and UCLA, and we have the ball at the end with a chance to go win it. We've got to go win it, and we have not been able to do that. So it's not a great answer. I mean, it's not like it's like, hey, we just got to fix this one thing. We have to just play better, and that's coach better. And I think that's my job this week, is to look at it and say, hey, what can we do? And hope that the players, instead of saying, well, he's got to do this, he's got to do, hope that the players say, hey, I've got to go do this better. You have a couple of really bright spots. You have Ja'Cory out there consistently making plays. I mean, I think Ja'Cory's, he's like a lightning rod out there, and Isaiah showed up in the last game and made some plays. We just need a lot more of that, and we have 3 opportunities left to do it. We've got to play better.
Does the lack of run game, does that take you by surprise? You seem confident in it in August going into the season.
Yeah, I thought we would be playing better on offense than we are. I thought we'd run the ball better. I thought we would. I thought we'd have really good play action game. I thought we'd be better on third. I mean, I thought we'd be. I thought we would be playing better than we are. And again, like, even within the games, like there's times, we're down 20-7, like down 10-0, the drive to answer, I think there's moments where I'm like, okay, that's what it looks like. It's just not consistent enough. And, against Ohio State, we move the ball, we go on and score against Ohio State 4 times, we just get held to field goals. And so there was a lot of work this week on the red zone, and, we were able to get in twice, but, I thought we would be further along than we are.
What have been the tone? What are the tone of your conversations with Dylan? When you said, I know you've mentioned before that you like to watch film with him after the game. When you do now, in comparison to early in the season, what kind of different things are you seeing that may be related to holding back the offense? Well,
I didn't watch anything with him this week just because he's in getting treatment all day and getting MRIs and all those things. But we're playing better people, and one of the reasons why, when I recruited Dylan, and when I recruited Danny, I sort of talked about like, hey, come here and this is an opportunity if you can win the job. One of the benefits is playing early. And you go through, and when you play early, everything's not going to be a sunny day. And you learn how to handle all the different things that you see, and you have tough moments and you overcome them. So I think this is unbelievable, invaluable experience for Dylan. When it's good, it's good. And there's been some tough moments, right? And it's like, you throw the pick 6, but he doesn't quit. He goes back out and brings us back into the game. Heinrich comes out, he takes us down the field. So, this is the Big Ten. This is a whole new world, a whole different league. And, every week you have to be at your best. We haven't been consistent enough. But I think for a young freshman quarterback, this is on the job. This is on the job training. This is on the job learning. They're bringing, they took both, we've had, this is not an excuse. This is not an excuse, but we have seen different, we've had 3 straight teams coming off a bye going into our 4th one. We've seen so many different things about, the third down packages we've seen people cook up for us. It's nothing, and so you're on the side, and Dylan's having to compute it and learn it, as are the O linemen. And then in the second half, I thought we were better. I think at one point we were like 1 for 7, and then I think we finished much better than that. So if you can just weather the storm as a young player, you say to yourself, what am I supposed to be learning? And then you learn all these things, and that's, like we played Tom Brady when I was in Carolina. We kept bringing this like zero look against him, and we got him a couple times, and then the third time, he threw a glance against us. He signaled it, and he saw it and burned us. And it's like, he has such a Rolodex in his brain. I think Dylan's building a Rolodex that, while it's frustrating right now, if he weathers the storm, he'll have so much experience. And as things get better, he'll be a unique player.
How do you feel like Marcus Satterfield's calling the games?
I think that's part of my job this week, is to look at it. I think I don't have tremendous issues at times, like, why do we call this? Why do we call that? Because all those things are kind of game planned during the week. Are we game planning the right things during the week? That might be one of the questions, we have to talk about and look at it. But if you score 18 points, you're going to, what you say, 18.1 a game, you're going to be under fire, right? It just is what it is. So me as the head coach, Sat as the OC everywhere. I think it's really, really important, though, that our players take accountability in it as well, right? Like, we don't call any plays that they can't execute. And when they, it's kind of like a slippery slope. It's like when they jump up and make the catch, it's like, hey, great job, Isaiah. But when they jump up to make the catch and they don't make the catch, it's like, come on, Sat. And so I just want all of us in the program to all take accountability together. And that's the introspection I talked about this week. So, we're looking at everything. And the same thing on defense. We can't go out there on defense and let them just go right down the field against us. When they took the ball, it was a smart move by them. Had we won the toss, I probably would have taken the ball, because they've been really hot early. But we didn't play defensively the way we've been playing. And but yeah, 18.1 points a game, you're going to take. There's nothing you can say. It's just not good enough.
So Satterfield calls that play at the start of the quarter. Actually, people would say it was a pretty good call. Dylan missed the read. He admitted that. But on the subsequent drive, I think you guys ran it like 4 times in a row. Was that Sack committing to the run, or did you interject there and say, no, we're going to run the football?
I didn't. I don't know that. I don't think that I interjected anything. I don't know that I remember the exact exchanges. I mean, we had a game plan going in of, hey, we're going to had certain runs that we liked, and early in the game, they went 8 minutes. We went 3 plays. They went, whatever. And so we didn't really have a ton of opportunities in the first half, but we knew based upon the way that they've played that you're going to have more opportunities in the second half. But in terms of that exact frame, I mean, when you get down, like when we were down against Indiana and we were down this game, typically when you're down 20-7 or 20, I usually will say, hey, don't panic here. Like guys, like don't panic. Just go back to the game plan. Don't worry about what the score is. Like, just go down and score a drive. Like, there's some questions, I got asked after the game, I got to ask some questions about like when you're down 2 scores, the thing that I've learned, and you study all the analytics, is like, just go down and score. Don't rush. Go down and score the first one. If you trust your defense, you'll get the ball back with a chance to win the game. And so, but that was, if I say anything, it's probably that, and, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but yeah, but there was no like, hey, a directive from me or anything like that. I don't believe.
What's the identity you'd really like to see from your team the last 3 weeks coming out of that bye?
Yeah, I had a really good friend of mine, a person I've met since I've been here, text me and say, "Man, it must be frustrating. The team is so inconsistent." And to be quite honest with you, that's hard for me to hear. Like that's not what I want. I want us to be consistent. I want us to be, I'm a same guy every day. I do the best that I can. Same guy every day. And so I think I really have to look at my approach. You know what I mean? I think I have to really look at, the way that I'm doing things with our team. After the Ohio State game, Troy reminded me of this morning. I said to you guys, if we played hard against Ohio State, but if we don't back it up next week, then it's all for naught. And I didn't like the way we played on Saturday. And so I'd like to see us have 3 games where we go out and we absolutely fight, scratch, claw, and compete. And that's the danger. Honestly, that's the danger with my job's hard. In that's the danger with all the SAT stuff. Yeah, it's not good enough. We get that. But then it takes all the pressure off of the guys that are on the field. Like, hey, go make a play. Like, go catch a ball and make a play. Like, you can't catch the ball and fall down. You got to catch the ball and go make a play. And that's the slippery slope of this world. And so I think I have to really look at I have to look at my approach this week. Am I being demanding enough? Am I being tough enough? Am I being hard enough? In a day and age where everyone says to be, the kids are anxious, be easier on them. But then, I was disappointed on Saturday with the way it looked. So, I love the kids. I love the guys. I want them to be great. And I see greatness in so many of them. That's just kind of, so the last 3 games, I'd like to see that greatness emerge and see them play their best football and see them just all out compete and fight. And so this will be a real week for us, right? There's a lot that has to happen this week.
What is your practice approach for the bye week as far as what you'll do with your team? And is it a week of work with recruiting and everything you guys got to manage this week?
Yeah, so we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all USC practices. This won't be like a developmental. We'll get ready for the game. I'll leave Wednesday night to go recruiting. I'll just trust the coaches that are in to coach on Thursday. Then we'll give the guys, Friday, Saturday off. We'll recruit Friday. I'll recruit Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then we'll practice Sunday night. Against Indiana, I kept the normal Monday schedule. I think we'll go Sunday, and then give them Monday off, so that way we just kind of get them back. So this is a pivotal time, right? We got a bunch of great seniors. We got 3 games that I'd like to see them go out and compete in. So we'll focus our attention the next couple of days on just USC, and at the same time, it's like kind of going back to what the other questions, like, hey, what can we do well, but also USC as well. So,
you guys have a lot of time this week, not so you're not getting ready for game, but how important is to keep the guys mentally positive, and how much of that burden lies on your players rather than the coaches being cheerleaders?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It lies on the players. Okay, like I believe this. I've always believed this. The Players win games. I try to do a good job of protecting the players, but at some point, like you got to go out there and play. You got to go out there and make the plays. You got to go out there and do what you're capable of. I'm not, I've been here a year and a half now, 2 years almost. I'm not doing I'm afraid to make a mistake. I'm afraid, I'm not doing that anymore. Like I just want the guys that want to go out and compete. We got enough of them. I want them to go out and fly around and compete. You're going to make mistakes out there. Yeah, this is what life is, right? Like you hit adversity. If you quit, then so be it. I want the grown men out there. I'm happy to talk to everyone's parents. I'm happy to have personal one-on-one meetings. But at the end of the day, when the ball's snapped, you better play. And that's what these weeks are for. To go out there and establish who you are. So great opportunity for some of the young guys. To go out there, and I keep bringing up like Jacory and Vincent and Shavers and those guys. Like when the ball snapped, they play. Point blank, they play. It might not always be right, but they play and they play and they play. And so, catch our breath this week. We'll practice for USC and we'll go out there and we'll compete.
Besides Dylan, do you think you'll get Hartzog back, or what's your health otherwise?
Yeah, Tommy. Tommy went into the game. Tommy played. I think another week. I think Tommy will be even better. I think Malcolm was available, kind of like if we needed him. He was available. He made tremendous progress in a short amount of time. He'd be able to play this Saturday. So obviously next Saturday, unless there's a setback, we think he'll be good. That's a big piece for us. And then guys like Marquise Buford that are out there. That have said 2 ACLs, and this is a good week for him. To maybe have a little downtime and come back and be really healthy for the last 3 games. So I think in terms of health-wise, the bye comes at the right time. We should have a lot of guys out there next week.
Go back to that first quarter. UCLA's offense had a big first quarter. And how much of that is just them catching you with stuff that maybe they had 2 weeks to scheme for?
Yeah, their offense is kind of their offense. There wasn't much that was super, super, super new in terms of offensively. Most of the stuff we're seeing that's new has been defensively. I think, they're a huddle team that trade shifts motion, so they hit it in new ways. But, they've kind of been very consistent. I told Deshaun before the game, because I was a GA when he was a player, I told him, I said, hey, you're doing a great job. Like I said it last week. I thought that was a really good team that had played Oregon, had played LSU, and had played some really good teams and hung in there against them. And LSU, like it was 17-17 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Like when it was 27-20, it's kind of where I expected us to be. Like we practiced 2 minute more on Wednesday than we normally do, because I was like, hey, this is going to come down to the end. But they've done that consistently. Like they did against Minnesota, did against Rutgers. They went right down the field on their opening script. And I go, if you can kind of weather that storm, then you have a chance. And so you think about it, like, they went down, they scored the first 3 drives that they had it. And then we settled down, and then they scored one more time the entire game. So, they got the quarterback playing really, quarterback Garbers was playing really well. We never really hit him. We brought pressure, and he ran in the A gap, and he makes a guy miss in the middle of the field. You take away any one of those plays, and all of a sudden we're playing much better. So I don't think they surprised us as much as they've just been very consistent throughout the year. And, Jeremiah went out there early at corner. He competed, and then Tommy went in for him, and the older guys, I think, settled down.
I want to ask about this, just the spectrum of talent maybe in the Big Ten. So you played Ohio State, you played Indiana, then you played Ohio State, and you played UCLA. But Ohio State and UCLA, one team's got a $20 million roster, and they are 7-1. The other one's 3-5. But how much gap is there really between the caliber of players that you face at Ohio State and the caliber of athletes that UCLA had? And how tight is the margin for basically every team in the league?
It's a great question. I don't think there's much difference. I think when Ohio State's at probably a whole other level. Don't get me wrong, but I think UCLA is a really talented team. Okay. You look at the kid, if they didn't recruit them, they're transfers from Notre Dame and USC. They're not good players. I coached at UCLA. UCLA's never had a shortage of talent. There's a ton of great players at UCLA. I think you look at Indiana. Indiana's got really talented players too. The quarterback Rourke. He was 10 wins and 10 wins, I think, at Ohio. I mean, he's a winner. And so what they've done is they've just brought over a whole bunch of guys who know how to win. They won at James Madison, they won at Ohio, and they know how to win. And so I don't see huge drop-offs when we face different teams. It's kind of like there's a certain level. Some teams have better O-lines and D-lines, and that's really what I think makes the difference. And some teams have better quarterbacks. And so that, at the end of the day, when you face a veteran quarterback who's played a lot of football and they're in tune, they're hard to stop. When Garbers was in tune, then we started getting some pressure on him, and then all of a sudden it changed a little bit. If we do a little bit better job of protecting Dylan early on, he's probably in a little bit more rhythm. So it goes back to hey, these are reps you put in your brain, you develop, you grow from, and you become better. So, but I don't see a major difference.
People who've covered the team for quite some time have seen Nebraska play incredibly well against high teams. Michigan 21, Ohio State last week. And then it feels like there can be these moments where the play is at the level of the opponent. How do you eliminate that? Or do you think that that's accurate of the way you guys play?
That's kind of what I said earlier. It's a disappointing thing about the job that I'm doing. I've prided myself over the years of like, we're consistent. And I thought last year, like we were consistent, like we were, and now this year it's not quite as consistent. And, you're probably not supposed to, head coach 101, you're not supposed to say those things in a press conference, but I owe it to everyone to be honest. Like I'm trying to find a way to get the players to be more consistent. And so this is probably the first time you guys have heard me say the players have to play. Like they have to play. They can't just say like, oh man, did you read what they're saying about Sat? Like, but you are Sat. You are the offense. You're out on the field. Like Jacory's not worried about what play call Sat's calling. Jacory's out there flying around, right? Like, so you can't throw a bubble out in the perimeter and guys not block. It's one man against another man. I got to block you, and but all that being said, it's just it's not consistent enough, and it's when you take a job, when you I don't think I've ever taken what I would call like an easy job, like come to a place that just won 10 games. These are the hard moments. This is what you have to do. And so I have to sit here and admit my shortcomings. I haven't gotten it done yet at the level that we need to have it done. But we have had some good moments too. And so I'm just trying to get it to be more consistent. And that starts with looking at the coaches, looking at the players, being honest. If I'm honest and they're not, then so be it. So I don't know if I'm answering you, but that is kind of what's happening, to be quite honest with you. That is, and if you have that roster, some of the rosters, if you have that Ohio State roster, like if you think about our game, you think about our game against Ohio State. We moved the ball in Ohio State, but we had to kick field goals in the red zone. Kept it close, and then they went and ended up winning the game in the fourth quarter. UCLA moved the ball against us. We held them to field goals. Then we had a chance to go win the game at the end. It's you're gonna have some games that are up and down, but I have to find a way to get this team to be more consistent. We have 3 games left, and that's why I hope that they block out everything, not the noise in general, the pointing fingers at each other. I hope they block all that out and they just say, what can I do? Because that's what Marquise Buford deserves. Marquise Buford deserves a chance to go play in a bowl game, and that's what this program needs. This program needs to go to a bowl game, and it's going to take unbelievable focus because these are 3 good teams that we have left, and I'm going to work my tail off to try to get it done, and I hope the players join me, and I hope the staff joins me. But there's nothing I won't do to get there. There's nothing that I won't do to help us get over the top, because we will. In the end, what I will say is we will get over the top. I mean, I think this is not like I'm sitting here like defeated. I'm just sitting here frustrated. You're frustrated. I'm frustrated, but we will get there. And it's just sometimes you don't like the way it feels along the way.
The outside eyes that you're bringing in this week, what does that process look like, and how often do you do that?
I probably won't say too much yet because I want to be respectful. I think I ask people's opinions all the time that I trust. I say, hey, I talk to people. I call, like I told you, I call after Indiana. I called Coach Osborne. Last year he came in. I am someone that's every team to me. Every season's like its own organism, right? And you're trying to manage and deal with things. So I'll always ask people. So I think it's pretty consistent for me. You actually bringing people here. Maybe that's not something I normally would do, We have some people who we hire as consultants that do like advanced stuff for us each week. So, we'll talk to them Zoom wise, but I think coming in the building this week is good. I think, at the end of the day, everybody needs to feel this right now. Everyone needs to feel like, everyone needs to feel what I feel. Everyone needs to feel a little bit like, hey, we need to get this thing going. Right. There's a certain expectation, that you have to have when you're a Nebraska Cornhusker. That's to play championship football, and it's just not a sometime thing. And so, I think bringing people in, I told them if there's a young player that can help us, the red shirts are all off. We'll put them out there, like whatever it takes.
You allow yourself to pay mind to the fact that in the reality of college football today, when you get deep into November, that what the importance level is for you to show progress as it relates to what comes in December, when there is the portal, when you're trying to keep commitments, when you're trying to keep other teams from coming in and recruiting your own roster.
Yeah. I mean, I think in general, like, if you want players to come play for you, they need to see progress, right? They need to see that, okay, we are better this year than last year. But I'm not going to chase players on our roster. Like, if you're here, you get taken care of so well. I mean, you get taken care of so well. And, you have guys that are here from other schools. Ask them. I mean, they'll tell the guys. So it's natural when you're on a 3-game losing streak for guys to be like, man, I'm frustrated to start. Maybe I'll go there. Maybe I'll go, that's natural. I mean, I think every freshman goes through that, every year. And, I only need about 22 guys to play the next week. So, we got a lot of guys that love it here. But we have to show progress, but that's the goal. Like, the goal is to make progress, not to show progress, right? The goal is to be better than we were. And so, we've seen some moments, the Colorado game, we've seen some moments, the Ohio State game where we see what we could be. It's just not consistent yet. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to start worrying about. We have a great thing going here, and we have recruits all across the country that want to come here, and there'll be kids lining up. If we said, "Hey, we'll take you," there'll be kids lining up to come here. So, I don't worry about any of that. I care deeply about my players. I care deeply about their character and their growth, and if they're good enough. Some guys, maybe if they want to play, they should go down a level. But if a little bit of adversity causes you to turn and run, then you don't see me running. I'm not running. So, we have to show progress. And the reality is, we were building this team from the very beginning. I kept telling them, "Hey guys, we're building this for November and December. We're trying to work hard in the offseason to get you guys to this moment. Here we are. We're obviously all frustrated about the last 3 games, but we have a bye week and we have to go play. So we'll see how we stand against USC. We'll see how we stand against Wisconsin. We'll see how we stand against Iowa. But we'll have a lot of good players next year here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
There he is, Nebraska head coach Matt Rhule. And many of you had many thoughts on that press conference. I will read many of them for the YouTube audience. I'm holding up the concern sign. During that press conference, we did get a kick time announced for USC. We thought that this would be a primetime kickoff or an ultra late kickoff time. It is neither. Bit of a surprise. Nebraska USC will kick off on Big Fox at 3 p.m. Central Time. That would be 1 o'clock out in La La Land. So Nebraska with another showcase brand on brand matchup, big time slot kickoff. The other kickoff times for that week, that would be week 12. These are games taking place on November 15th or November 16th. UCLA at Washington is the Friday night game. Ohio State at Northwestern on BTN at 11. Michigan State, Illinois, 1:30 on FS1, if this graphic is correct. 2:30 CBS, Penn State at Purdue. 3 o'clock, Big Fox, Nebraska at USC. FS1, 5 o'clock, Rutgers at Maryland. And your Big Ten Saturday night game, Oregon at Camp Randall against the Badgers, 6:30 on NBC. Here's what we're going to do. Throw your reaction to Matt Rhule's weekly press conference in the YouTube chat. Email it to josho1620thezone.com. Connor's not here. He's at the women's basketball game. I'm like a single mother. I'm washing and drying the dishes tonight. So I'm not going to be able to answer your phone call. Okay. Like, it's just not going to happen. Okay. Tweet us at Happer Show, at producer_Josh. Email Josho at 1620thezone. The YouTube chat is a tire fire, but I think it is deservedly so. I'll give you my thoughts and the audience's thoughts on Matt Rhule's press conference. When we return, still a lot to do. We'll hear from Sam McKewon, who I believe gave a master class in question asking, if there is such a thing. I really hope he picks up the phone this afternoon because I want to ask him a lot of things about that press conference. It is the Connor Happer Show. We will be back, and then we'll overreact to whatever Matt Rhule said at his weekly press conference on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Producer Josh Otson here for Connor today. He is doing his PA duties at the Pinnacle Bank Arena, Nebraska. Women's basketball ranked 23rd in the country, taking on the Omaha Mavericks today. We'll dip into that broadcast a little bit later on in the show. Maybe we can hear a little something from Connor. I don't know if we will or won't. It's a completely up in the air bit that I'm going to try. It might work, it might not. So we'll see what happens. But this is the time each week where we like to react, some say overreact, to Matt Rhule's press conference. I will give you my thoughts, and then I will read your thoughts. Put them in the YouTube chat. Email them, Josho at 1620thezone.com. Jake Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed, at Happer Show, at producer _ Josh. Let's see. Where do I want to start? As I said, if you missed the beginning of the show, normally I'm the guy who comes in here on Mondays after a loss, says, "Hey, calm down. It's fine. It didn't go your way. Life doesn't go your way." Matt Rhule says that quite a little bit. I feel like a lot of the fan base today, very sky is falling. Very, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, I don't know anything about anything. First time I've ever really questioned, is it going to work with Matt Rhule here? Again, if you're calling, I'm not going to answer the phone. I can't. I'm washing and drying the dishes. Okay, so hang it up. Teams tend to adopt the personality of their coach, whether they know it or not. And we at the Connor Happer Show in this time slot, we have the unenviable task of we just got to give our knee-jerk reaction to what coach says. We don't really have time to digest it, listen to it a second time, think about it for more than 2 or 3 minutes. Teams adopt the personality of their head coach. And more as we see more and more of Matt Rhule, hear more and more of Matt Rhule, I think this team has taken on the personality of its head coach, Matt Rhule. When things are going well, they're going really well. It's easy to be positive when things are going well. It's easy to deliver a sermon on the mount in a press conference when things are going well. When things are going poorly on the field, this team looks lost. When things are going poorly in a press conference, Matt Rhule sounds lost. Now, that's not to say that, in 2 weeks against USC, they won't come out and, win 42-10 or something. Literally every outcome of a game is possible week in, week out with this team. They're so wildly inconsistent that anything can happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me read you my notes, and then I will read your opinions. We will get to your opinions. I want this to be a mostly you segment before we get to Sam McKewon, who's coming up, hopefully, in, about half an hour or so. Off the bat, it sounds like, without saying as much, in the halls of that building, there is a bit of total retool mode. Early on in the press conference, he sort of alluded to that, and maybe that is alluded to play calling duties. Gosh, you got 2 weeks. It would be an interesting time to shift those play calling duties because, ladies and gentlemen, he's not going to fire Marcus Satterfield in the season. Okay, not going to happen. I know you want it. I want it, and it's not going to happen. Okay, just flush it. It's not going to happen. He talked about, we got to find out what we do well. Oh, Matt, first of all, offensively, you don't do anything well. Second of all, boy, you should probably know that by now. Just my reaction. I was monitoring this chat and the Huskers chat when he gave and I'm paraphrasing here, the answer that, well, Dylan's having to react to these teams coming off of a bye. Oh, no, the audience did not like that. He's got to go up there and answer the question. Matt Rhule does. He's got to say something. So, yeah, I guess if I had to go out there and say something, without like, your guess is as good as mine, guys, I'd say something similar. So I guess I will excuse that one away, but my eyebrow is raised. I'm watching you. So there was this weird sort of back-to-back question and answer where, and this is the thing a lot of people have glommed onto, and deservedly so. One answer, he says, I don't want to throw players under the bus. And then, he talks about, I don't want to throw players under the bus. They work hard day in, day out. It's an attitude. It's a mentality thing, blah, 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 blah. Next question gets asked. His answer is essentially, these players got to start doing stuff. You got to start blocking your guy. You got to start catching the ball. You got to start not falling down when you catch the ball. Boy, that's a hell of a 180 in the span of 2 or 3 questions. I don't want to throw the players under the bus, but it's all the players' fault, not Marcus Satterfield's. Is how a lot of people are interpreting that. I'm one of them, okay? I'm right there with you. I feel the exact same way. It was really, really weird. That's going to be a lot of people's big takeaway from this press conference. The thing he sort of ran right over and no one really caught in our chat. I'm sure a lot of people you heard it. He expected it to be about 27-20 UCLA with Nebraska having a chance to win the game at the very end. That's kind of weird, right? Kind of. I understand you're a touchdown favorite at home. You probably thought it was going to be a close game where a lot of us in Husker land saw Nebraska poised to win its 6th game against a 2-win UCLA team who, I know, they've been playing better as of late. You're absolutely right. I was dead ass wrong about that. Okay? But, losing the game in embarrassing fashion was never really on the table for me as an outcome of the game. What other notes did I write down here? If you want to be body language guy, boy, he sounded really tired, didn't he? He was fiddling with his wedding ring a lot, and I don't know about the rest of the guys in the audience. When do you fiddle with your wedding ring? I fiddle with my wedding ring when I'm nervous and don't want to be doing the thing that I'm currently doing. Everybody's different, though. These are just body language cues that I wrote down that I noticed. And boy, from time to time in that press conference, he sounded like, I want to be careful the way I phrase this because I don't want to accuse anything of happening that isn't happening. But to me, it sounded from Matt Rhule as if this team might be on the brink of collapse internally in the locker room. Talked about finger pointing a lot. Talked about, I'm kind of out of options as a coach. I need new eyes on this. I can't crack this code. What are you seeing? How can you help me crack this code? I don't know what, not that I don't know what to do as a head coach, but boy, this one's a real stumper. If we're going to read into things, and I don't know if the audience wants to read into things or if I'm seeing something that isn't there, kind of sounds like there were some hard questions asked after the UCLA game, which logically makes a lot of sense. But I want you to have your say in this as well. A lot of comments that I'm sifting through here, so bear with me. Again, let's see. George chimes in on the YouTube. Hi, George. No consistency in the run game tells me we are lacking dudes in the O-line who can get the job done. It doesn't matter what you scheme in the offense when you are weak up front. Great point, George. We've all asked this over the last 20 years or so. Where are the big, beefy farm boys? Where are they? Where are the big, beefy farm boys that just want to hit somebody? Where are those guys? I don't know. We're just thinking out loud. Frank on the YouTube stream. We aren't winning again this year. Frank. It sure feels like that, doesn't it? But I have faith. Trust me, the Will Compton hype promos aren't going anywhere. I'm going to keep doing those. Okay? Let's see. We keep scrolling through. Adam, exactly. This team has taken on the Rhule persona. Clarence, South Carolina, was more than happy to get rid of Sat, and looking at his last year there, NFL talent at quarterback, and he also looked terrible. I know everybody wants Satty's head on a pike today. I don't think, again, I've said it a million times today. It's not going to happen in season. Now, I don't know how you come back from this as an offensive coordinator unless you hang 50 every game the rest of the season and it looks like a marvelous transformation. But quite frankly, I don't see that happening. Charles, Odson is dead on here. Oh, we love comments like that, don't we, folks? Charles again. Hi, Charles. He said, everything is under evaluation. That's big, especially for him. I was expecting him to provide cover for Satterfield, and he did not. I would say he was probably asked about Satterfield a couple of times, and there was one time where I thought he did give cover, and one time where I thought he did not. But Austin. Hi, Austin. This press conference reminded me a lot of Scott Frost pressers. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's terrible. I don't know. SEAL Team Nick calls this 16-20 the collapse. Hey. I told you, I'm a fan today. We can have intelligent X's and O's football conversations when Connor gets back. I want to be in my feelings today. And my feelings are, I'm very sad and very scared. And I think a lot of you feel that way as well, whether you admit it or not. Andy. Hi, Andy. I want blood. This is Nebraska. Spartan kicked Sadie off the press box a la 300. Remember the movie 300? We were all very into it at the time, and no one's talked about it since. D8 chimes in on YouTube. Hi, D8. I don't think you can recover this season in players' motivation until a move is made with offensive play calling. How many screens were called this week as opposed to last week? We have no identity. Boy, that feels like it would really help, doesn't it? If they had something they can rely on. Like 3rd and 3, I need 3 yards. I need 9 feet. My math is terrible when I have to talk and speak and hit buttons at the same time. You got to get it. What play do I know Nebraska can lean on to get those 3 yards in a crucial situation? I don't know of one. Sometimes the running game looks good. A lot of times it doesn't. Do they not do it because they're not good at it? Or do they not do it because Sadie, as you all affectionately refer to him, wants to showcase his 5-star quarterback and take him out for a spin? I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you on that. I wish I did. I don't. The other Dave chimes in. Hi, the other Dave. Bringing in outside consultants could equal cover for firing your friend per third-party advice. That's a good point. He could go, well, if it was up to me, you'd stay. But everybody tells me I got to fire you, so I got to fire you. That's kind of crappy, but I guess if I did it that way, that's probably how I would do it. If I had to fire Connor, I'd probably be like, hey, you're my buddy, but everybody says I got to let you go, so I got to let you go. Charles, again, hello, Charles. Bringing in outside consultants to an organization is never good for people on staff. Totally agree. I'm not telling you anything you don't know here when I say this. That was a gotta-have-it game, and not only did you not get it, you looked terrible in the attempt to get it. So, and if you just joined us, hi, by the way, Nebraska USC 3 p.m. kick next Saturday. Where will Big Red Overreaction be on? What station will it be on? I don't know. There's a Creighton basketball game that night. We'll figure it out. We'll let you know. Trust me. We'll let you know. Twitter, love me some corn, chimes in. Hi, love me some corn. As far as the presser goes, I hear a lot of tongue-in-cheek, avoiding the elephant in the room with Sat. At the end of the day, it's the coach being paid $2 million plus, and thus his job to put the players in position to maximize their potential. Totally agree with that. Ryan asked a good question here on Twitter. Hi, Ryan. Why no questions about the continued clock management issues? They are 100 emoji. A coaching problem. Ryan, thank you for keeping it a buck. That's what the kids say, right? Freed Yo calls it No Win November. Steve sends us a picture of it's funny. It's funny, so I'm going to share it. He captions the tweet, a live look at Sadie. And it is Henry Winkler from The Water Boy reading The Complete Idiot's Guide to Coaching College Football. Look, it made me laugh, Steve, so I feel the reaction is warranted and all that implies. If you got, I'm sure you all have comments that will continue to trickle. Oh, an email from Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy. Are you just going to gloss over, we all need to feel this? We all need to feel like me. This is year 2. How many more years does a blue blood need to feel like this and still be considered a blue blood? Now, Jeremy's asking a micro question and a macro question in the same email, and that's okay. That's okay. Let me just handle the micro right now. We all need to feel this. We all need to feel like me. So, the thing we thought we knew after the Ohio State game was, okay, the team looked bad, played bad, got rolled against Indiana, but it scared them straight, right? And they delivered a quote-unquote championship mindset against Ohio State. And you just lose your championship mindset in 7 days' time? You just lose it? What? You weren't feeling this? You weren't feeling like Matt Rhule after Indiana? And vowed to yourself and to the guy next to you, I never want to feel like this again. I never want you to feel like this again. Again, as I said in the beginning of the show, it's okay. It's okay to lose. I'm not a guy who's like, you're Nebraska. You should win 10, 11, 12 games every year just because you're Nebraska. Football's hard. Coaching's hard. I get that. It is the way in which you play that is so odd to me. Just you weren't scared straight after Indiana. You weren't committed to never feeling that way again after how bad it felt against Indiana. And quite frankly, it felt really good after Ohio State. I know, no moral victories, but felt pretty good, didn't it? And then you go out against UCLA and you just get hit in the mouth and you don't answer until it's far, far, far too late. I mean, it's 12:37 and we haven't even really tinkered with the idea that Dylan Raiola looks broken physically, mentally, spiritually. But have fun at the Chiefs game tonight, Dylon. You've earned it. The MRA say he's fine, but man, I think Schaefer nailed it when he was talking with Connor earlier, that got some real sophomore Martinez vibes to it, where we're just grinding this quarterback down into nothing. And what's going to be left of him after this year? I mean, UCLA did to Nebraska what Nebraska tries to do to everybody. We're going to grind it out. We're going to play. I don't know if play slow is the right way to describe it, but we're going to get on a lead. We're going to get a lead. We're going to sit on it. We're going to scare the hell out of our own fan base in the fourth quarter because we were up so big, and now in the final stretches are not up so big. UCLA out Nebraska in that game. And again, I will say it again because I've boiled up my own blood in this segment. Ethan Garbers was tearing up the defense. This defense that we thought was very good. I thought they were good. I think they still might be pretty decent. But I'm not ready to go there today. In 2 weeks, don't worry, in 2 weeks, I will talk myself into them being world beaters. But I'm not there today. Okay. I'm going to switch to decaf. We're going to step aside. We're going to come back. We're going to maybe I'll go through my notes. I take notes when I watch a football game, and I've always thought it would be fun to just read the notes. So we'll do that next. We might check in on Connor. Got a lot to do. Very little time to do it. It's the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
$16.20 The Zone, Connor Happer Show. No Connor today. He's at women's basketball in Lincoln as they take on the Omaha Mavericks. College basketball starting up in earnest today. Got one on the TV right now. Live from Paris, number 3 USC leads number 20 Ole Miss 52-47. 9 minutes to go in that contest. We are the home of the Mavericks, by the way. So we have the access to dip in to 1180 The Zone and hear the women's basketball call. Let's dip in. See, maybe we can hear Connor. This will lift our spirits.
Shooter too. Right side down low. Gets at the horn. Horn confidently driving. Scoop shot. Left hand. It's in. That's got to feel good. Take your first shot. Get your first bucket. Get all those cobwebs off for Horn. Mavericks trail 35-15. Other end bucket up. It goes in by Rimdahl. And she got fouled.
I can just hear sort of the bassy. The bass. Oh,
Alex Stevens.
there it was. You guys hear him? Did you hear him? Oh, that's our guy. That's our guy, Connor Happer. I heard him. That's our guy. 35-13. Nebraska leads Omaha in the second quarter. Nebraska really sticking it to the Mavs here in this second quarter, up 14-2 in that quarter alone. That was fun. I just wanted to hear his voice. I miss him. I don't like having to walk everyone through this loss alone because I am not the man to do that. I'm with you. I'm hurt. I'm mad. I'm sad. Oh, there were some good comments during the break. The Big Cheese on YouTube. Hi, The Big Cheese. Great job hosting today, Josh. Yep. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Greg, 2 G's. Hi, Greg. Whose photo, the picture he uses, the profile pic, I don't know why that term escaped me, looks like it's from the movie 300. A lot of 300 fans in the audience. Okay. How many times over the last 2 decades has the Nebraska defense made the Ethan Garbers of the world look like a combination of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? Boy, spot on. I hate it. SEAL Team Nick, you should never lose to a guy named Ethan. That feels like a poll question. Shh. And forgive me as I'm hosting and producing today. You're going to have to listen to me type this out. Should you ever lose to a guy named Ethan? You can vote on that and many more poll questions on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Happer Show. Should you ever lose to a guy named Ethan? There's one more up there. NFL legend Andrew Whitworth. Odd branding of Andrew Whitworth during a commercial a lot of people saw during the NFL last night. Sort of want to update the audience on what has happened, because a couple things have happened in the Nebraska news sphere, I guess. Pete Thamel, Matt Rhule, the scribes who were there all reporting. Dylan expected to play against USC in 2 weeks. The scans on the back were clear after Raiola says he just got hit in the wrong spot. Rhule said that he would be listed as questionable if the game was this Saturday. Luckily, the game is next Saturday, and it will be a 3:00 kick from the Coliseum. Big Fox is where you can watch the game against USC. Gosh, there's so many more comments. You guys are bringing it today, and I appreciate it. I guess I'll go through the notes app here. We don't have a ton of time, so I'll go through the notes app. It's just gonna tick me off again. I don't think I should do this, but now, as many of you know, I'm with the Iowa Western football team on Saturdays. I don't watch the game on Saturdays with all of you. I watch it Saturday in the middle of the night, Sunday in the middle of the night. These comments are hilarious. The ones I can't read on the air. You're right, by the way. So I have the luxury of hindsight. I guess I know how the game is going to turn out, so I can key in on different things. Not that you can't key in on these things as well in live time, but I got hindsight on my side. In the pregame interview, before the game even started, Fox asked Matt Rhule, what was his name? Rhett Davis asked him, "Hey, championship mindset against Ohio State. What does that mean today too?" He said point blank, "It doesn't carry over." I immediately made a sound that woof, just kind of like that. Just ooh. Matt Rhule, you don't know the half of it. You don't know what you're about to endure. Okay, just scrolling through the notes app. These aren't things you don't know happened in the game, but maybe we'll strike gold in this segment here. UCLA first drive, 14 plays, 68 yards, 8 minutes. UCLA goes 5 of 6 passing and converts 2 third downs. I wrote down brother. I'm going to assume that's an exasperated use of the word brother, like, oh, brother. Not a great start, Dylan running for his life from the start. Dylan is going to the Chiefs game tonight? Get a touchdown on drive number 2. Okay, we've settled down. Things are back on track. After I went back and made a note on that note. After Nebraska gets that touchdown, they run 8 plays and gain 9 yards between that touchdown and halftime. Gross. This is going to make me sound like a monster. It's not a bad thing. I want to say that on the front end. I will say it again on the back end. It's not a bad thing, but I just anecdotally feel like Fox talked about Nick Pasquale for 10 consecutive minutes and did not call a single play on the field. Like I was looking for some analysis. I was looking for some, hey, what's going on the field? And it was just more stories about Nick Pasquale, which is good. It's a good story. It's a great story. It makes both schools look great. It's a great human interest story. It's the type of thing that on College Game Day or Big Noon Kickoff, I would bawl like a baby listening to and watching. It just wasn't what I wanted in the moment. The pick 6 was atrocious. No blitz, was going to Fedoni before he snapped it. Again, these aren't observations you all haven't made. We're just traveling through my notes app together. You were in the game down 6 and now you're feeling it. Dylan can't read UCLA's defensive looks. And it is at that point that it triggered in my memory. Oh yeah, everyone who covers Nebraska, the Nebraska media, as you affectionately refer to them, was saying that, yeah, there were wide open guys all day long and Dylan just wasn't seeing them. Didn't have time to see them, but 12 minutes to go, down 13, 1st and goal, you get a nice run. 2nd down, you throw it out of bounds. 3rd down, terrible throw, tipped, dangerous pass, situational alert. I would have kicked it. And you take a sack on 4th down. The play never had a chance. Not that the kicking game was real strong. Missed a PAT shortly thereafter, but I wrote down a note. Matt Rhule, quote, "I want to play with more tempo." Offense proceeds to not play with tempo in the 4th quarter, down multiple scores. Now, Matt addressed that a little bit at the press conference today. He said, hey, you're down 2 scores. You got to get the first one. You got to get the first one right. We trust the defense to get us the ball back. Okay. I don't know that completely calms my nerves, calms my fears, calms my anger about that, but I guess I see where you're coming from on that. 6:50 to go, down 13, First and goal, disaster of a play, but you draw the holding call. Good job. First and goal again, run for a loss, but hey, cool little diamond formation you ran there. Second down, right? It's the Raiola run that gets him hurt. I like the decision for him to run. He just took a bad hit, like them's the breaks sort of thing, right? Third down, Harburg can't find a hole. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Oh, do we like Big Ten officiating now? I don't know that we fully swung around on Big Ten officiating, but boy, they sure helped Nebraska on Saturday. First and goal again. Third first and goal. A run for nothing. It should have been for a loss. Second down. Raiola collapses pre-snap, has to come out. Nebraska runs to the outside and is stopped at the goal line. Third down. Touchdown Dodell. Missed PAT. 7 and goal plays it took to score. Nebraska had 11 and goal plays in that quarter. My God, you got to be quicker than that. I understand you want to get it right. You got to be able to do better than that. Okay? That's not good enough. That's not championship mindset. That's not executing well. I know Matt Rhule said they didn't execute well, but like everything, schematically, execution, 11 and goal plays. My God. And then the last note I wrote, the down was more important than getting the playoff before the 2-minute timeout. Again, an observation many of you made in the moment on Saturday. I had the same one. They ran this weird little play with like 2:08. I don't have the play-by-play in front of me. Like 2:08 with the clock running just to get a playoff before the 2-minute warning. But I kind of actually would have rather they let the 2-minute timeout come, giving you more time to get the play right because you needed the down more than you needed the clock at that point. Again, not terribly insightful observations, but they were my observations. Someone who actually has insightful observations and addressed those at the press conference with Matt Rhule. I thought he gave a master class in media question asking, and I kind of want to get really inside baseball about the questions he asked, as well as where do we go from here? As I started the show, what the hell was that on Saturday? We'll talk about it all with noted football genius Sam McKewon. He's up next on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
$16.20 The Zone, Connor Happer Show. Connor's at women's basketball today. They are, I believe the term is taking care of business. At least one team can. 47-15, your halftime score. Nebraska won the second quarter 26-4. My goodness. A Nebraska volleyball-esque taking care of business. Boy, sweeping Wisconsin. That was fun. Feels like a lifetime ago, though. So the Nebraska women, basketball, volleyball, they seem to be able to handle their own, so to speak. Women's and men's college basketball starting in earnest today. Ole Miss had a lead on USC. They've let it slip 60-59. Strike that, 62-60 now. Ole Miss leads with 3 minutes to go. They're playing in Paris. Part of what is being called Affleck We Play. We spelled O-U-I, of course. That's all right. That's kind of clever. Look, I'll peel the curtain back. I tried to call Sam. He didn't answer. He said he'd be available. I'm sure he will be, but I can't dial the phone and talk to you. I can barely talk to you. Fredio makes a good point in response to our poll question of should you ever lose to a man named Ethan? Everyone loses to Ethan in Mission Impossible. Ethan Hunt. I forgot about Ethan Hunt. You're absolutely right, Fredio. Zell with the more on-topic comment. Not that we, one's not better than the other, but we'll go back to football. Rhule now 57-54 in college with only 4 winning seasons out of 9. He's used to losing more than winning, so maybe that's why he's having troubles fixing it, especially when the expectations are a lot higher at Nebraska than at Temple or Baylor. That seems accurate. I can't fight any of those points. I can't sit here and go, well, what about? I got nothing. I think you're right. But again, I'm in my feelings today. As the week progresses, you will notice a mood change in me, a tone change in me. By USC, I'll be feeling fine, okay? Just sort of taking a whip around the universe, I guess. Cowboys just breaking the news to America. This tweet I'm reading you is from Ian Rappaport. Quarterback Dak Prescott's hamstring injury was worse than initially feared. He is expected to miss multiple weeks. In fact, this is not looking like a short-term injury. Cooper Rush is currently the team's backup. That's not good. Not that it was that great with Dak out there, but certainly that's who you want. Noted Cowboys fan Josh Peterson on Sportsmanlike Conduct, 2-6 right here. On 1620 The Zone, quote, folks, we're scouting the 2025 NFL draft. Yeah, I would imagine your hopes and dreams of anything as a Cowboys fan have officially been dashed if they were not already. Other news today, this in the NFL, staying there. The Saints have made it official and fired Dennis Allen. New Orleans lost their 7th straight yesterday by a point to the Carolina Panthers. Let me tell you who you cannot lose to. I understand. You're playing at a divisional opponent. Those games are tough, no matter how bad the Carolina Panthers may or may not be. Can't lose that game. It's bad luck. And 7 straight losses, another bad look. 18-25 record as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, also a bad look. It is the longest losing streak for the New Orleans Saints since 1999. That's 25 years ago. I remember 1999. Interesting point brought up by, I believe it was Bill Barnwell, where I read this. Typically, when a team is like this, they're kind of stinky. Now, they were without their quarterback for a good chunk of those 7 losses, but still. You cut your assets, you trade some people, you cut some people, you restructure some contracts, fire sale, and you rebuild. The Saints can't really do that. They're $81 million over next year's cap. Who's the GM going to be? Who's the quarterback going to be? Why would Carr stay? So you're kind of stuck. And a lot of people making the same observation that I will make for you here now. Some head coaches are just better coordinators. I feel like that's maybe where we can file Dennis Allen as just a guy you want as a coordinator, but not the head coach. Let's step aside. Let's try and get Sam back on the horn because I know you want to hear from him. I want to talk to him too, and I want everybody to have that. So we will effort Sam McKewon. If not, I got plenty more to talk to. I got a college basketball preview, even though I don't see what the point is. And a whip around college football. We got something special happening at the Zone beginning today that you can be a part of. Lots to do today. So let's have some fun here in the last hour of the show. Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald joins us fresh off another Monday Matt Rhule press conference. Sam, how you doing today?
I'm hanging in. How are you guys?
We're doing okay. I'm feeling like a fan today. I'm in my feelings today. I want better results than Saturday. I guess, what was your kind of overall takeaway from the UCLA game?
Well, I mean, the broad takeaway is that Nebraska had an opportunity to clinch a bowl berth against a team that, traveling halfway across the country, and they just didn't play with much urgency early in the game. And so anytime you fall behind 10-0, that's a problem. And then anytime you throw a pick six for a touchdown, that's a problem. You're going to lose 60% of the time when you do that. So, Nebraska's attention to detail and level of execution and precision against a team like UCLA just wasn't anywhere where it needed to be. They probably played, multiple whatever's below their performance against Ohio State. So that's one of the questions I asked Matt Rhule today. It's just like, feels like you play down your level of competition. And he said that's frustrating because we're not consistent. And, when you're inconsistent, you're mediocre. And I think that's all accurate. They're frustrated, and I think fans are too.
And I told the audience this, I told you this. In fact, I thought you gave a master class in question asking at today's press conference.
Oh, thanks.
You asked I forget the way you worded it, but which is odd because I actually loved the way you worded it. You asked what isn't working on offense instead of another guy. I'm not talking trash about anybody else in that room. Just a safer way to ask that question. Well, what are your thoughts about the offense? You asked a little bit of a pointed question there.
Right. Yeah, because I think it's clear that a lot of things aren't going the way they would hope. Obviously, they're not scoring enough points, and they're not doing enough things on that side of the ball, and Rhule knows that. So we don't have to, I had a sense when you ask that question, you have to know. But I had also previously that week, I had asked, what are you guys doing that you really like? And he said, well, we just think about what we're doing wrong. And so, we just try to fix this and fix that. And so that's where I was like, okay, well, you're probably thinking a lot about what's wrong now. So what's wrong? And I thought he gave a pretty good answer to that. I thought he was thoughtful and insightful.
And then later in the press conference, you asked a question about Marcus Satterfield. One of the just absolute pure joys about this job, Sam, is people asking us day in, day out, why doesn't anybody ask why Marcus Satterfield isn't fired yet? And
right.
I feel you obviously didn't ask that because that's a silly question. That's not, you'll know when that happens, trust me, but
right. Yeah.
You did have to ask about the relationship, and I thought you did a great job of that too.
Yeah, so very simple. Just, what do you think of this play calling? And then I did ask, that there was a good call to start the second half. Dylan Rail didn't execute the play. But then it was almost like they ran the ball on purpose 4 times in a row and did a pretty good job running the football in those moments. And so I just basically said, now, did you kind of take that over? Because there was a moment during the during that game where he had a play sheet in his hand. Like he was looking over the plays. And he doesn't always have a play sheet in his hand. So I thought that was interesting. And so, he said, no, I don't really remember that moment. I think what he was saying, what he said to me and what he said is just generally, okay, we're not going to panic in that moment. So I think that's what he had to say about that. He had a lot of things to say. And I think he didn't necessarily let Satterfield off the hook. Simultaneously, he put some of that stuff back on the players. I think that's fair. I think the players have to be able to make some plays in those moments. And I think he does. You're taking a risk a little bit when you put it on the players because there's always invariably going to be somebody that carps that you should never do that. But I thought that it was worth the risk.
How do you balance Matt Rhule's answers of I don't want to throw the players under the bus, and then a couple questions later, the players got to make plays. I think they need to do a better job of executing, which, I mean, both things can be true, but we know Matt Rhule tends to use the media to address some things. Like what do you make of those? I believe they were back-to-back answers from Matt Rhule.
Yeah, I think he had already told his team, what he thought, and so what he was getting in that moment, his players already knew that he was probably going to go out there and say that, or he had said that to them, and I think the moment just arose where it's like, hey, we got to figure out what we're doing, and I think there's also a pointed of like, we're going to spend this week prepping for USC. He said that a couple of different times. This week's going to be spent, USC prep, and I thought that was notable and interesting. Certainly, like it was like, okay, yeah, this is going to be okay. We have a bye week. Whatever they did the last bye week, I don't know, but they're going to be ready for USC in terms of strategic. Now they got to go out and do those things, and quite frankly, they're going out to do it against a team that's going to be pissed off and probably more mad than Nebraska is right now, and has every intention of playing a really good football game. So that's going to be a real test for Nebraska, because UCLA probably needs that, USC needs that win to make a bowl, and they're going to be ready to roll, and they have a better quarterback than Nebraska. They do. In 2 years, they may not, but they do now. And they have better running backs and better receivers, and lots of things that are better. So, Nebraska has its hands full going out to Los Angeles.
What do you make of the regression, for lack of a better word, of Dylan Raiola? I believe health is a lot of that, but what do you see when you watch that quarterback play?
Well, I think he's adjusting to the collegiate game. I think there's throws that are getting harder to make because the windows are getting tighter, and defense is starting to take away those things. I think the blocking hasn't been as good over the last month, and he's having to deal with the usual bruises and bumps that come with being a collegiate football player. He's not played in a lot of games during his high school career where he was on the weaker team, or even on an evenly matched team. And so I think he's having to work through that and deal with some of those moments. The best game he played this year very nearly was at Ohio State. I thought he played quite well and made some of the plays that needed to be made, and kind of got robbed on a couple others. And then he comes back against UCLA. He didn't look like he knew exactly what they were doing. And that's maybe the most concerning thing, is that I thought the first half was spent just sort of staring at a defense and not really adjusting to what they were doing. And, he got there eventually, but it just didn't, the picture wasn't very good. And it wasn't very good against Indiana either. He really didn't seem to be seeing it against Indiana. So I'm not sure why those two games happened, but those are the two games where you're like, man, it just doesn't feel like he's with it right now, and he needs to figure things out. And these 2 weeks off will probably really help him.
Are there any quick Band-Aids you foresee Nebraska trying to use to get through the final few games of the regular season?
They could play with a little more tempo. I think they could, move up to the line a little quicker, get the ball moving downhill a little bit. Maybe speed up those runs a little. The runs, okay, so this is going to sound complex, but this is the way I'm trying to explain it. Dante Dalzell runs hard, and he runs downhill, and he meets it. The run plays themselves are slow developing. And so when he gets the ball, yeah, he's moving, and he's tough. But the plays themselves don't hit quick. And so here's the thing. Dalzell is probably going to be better in a quick hitting deal, and he's just not in a quick hitting offense. Like you put a tailback back there and you give him the ball. It's almost like a shorter handoff where you might be in 11 personnel and you're giving him a quick slam, as they call it, or a dive. And I almost feel like you do better in that situation. Sometimes you give this guy an inside zone, and zone runs take a little bit of patience and a little bit of timing. It doesn't always feel like the time and the patience is there. So that's probably the issue that I think they could work on, is a little bit quick hitting runs, and then they could also play with a little more tempo, find a way to get Dylan some rhythm throws. call it smash concept, where outside receiver runs a little tiny, in curl. You call it a stop route if you were in high school. Backside, a slot guy runs a post corner, something like that. You leverage that corner and you try to figure out where he's going to go. You can do some things like that. There's always things they can do. But they have struggled in figuring out how to get easy plays. Just 4 or 5 yards off of this throw. Get your quarterback warmed up. He isn't warming up until the second or third drive of the game, and that's a problem.
Sam McKewon, joining us from the Omaha World Herald. Been a pretty negative back and forth in terms of the football team. So let's highlight something positive going on. You wrote about the season opener for the Nebraska women's basketball team. Spoiler alert, they're up 40 in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Not unsurprising against Omaha, but what excites you most about this team?
I've been covering Nebraska women's basketball since I joined the World Herald in 2011. For all those teams. And, I had gotten used to the way that Connie would kind of talk about a team. So I could get a sense of what she really thought. With Amy, this is the conversations I had with her before the season with Amy Williams. I think she likes her team. And I don't say that lightly. I think she likes them. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be as good as they were last year or 3 years ago, but this is her kind of team. I think a lot of tough kids. Alexis is likable and a real leader and also not weird. I mean, she's not aloof and difficult. She's present and a good leader and a nurturing leader. And then they just got a lot of tough kids. Allison Widener's a tough kid. And Callan Hake's a tough kid. And Britt Prince is a tough kid. This Britt's not a front runner at all. So, they're gritty, and I think she likes that about them. And, she thinks they're pretty good. Now, are they going to be a good three-point shooting team? I don't know. That's hard to say. That's the thing that I think is a question mark for them. Jazz Shelley left the program. Jazz was an incredible three-point shooter, even though she only shot like 34%. Trust me, Jazz is one of the great shooters in program history. I don't know if they have that, but I do feel like they feel pretty good about everything else. And they could be a pretty good basketball team this year. They have a hard schedule. When you put USC and UCLA on the schedule and you play them on the road, that's tough. But I think they actually kind of like who they are, and the coach likes them. And so those things being true, I think, means that it's probably going to be a third, an NCAA tournament team. That's where I think they're at right now.
Exciting times for that squad over there. Connor's got a front row seat to it, doing the PA.
He does. I hear him out there. I'm at the game actually.
Okay.
And I hear him out there, and he's fired up, and he's great at that job. Incidentally, I've told him that, but I'll tell you this to your listeners that now that he's on there, he's really good at it.
We have the broadcast rights to the Omaha Mavericks games, so we dipped in for a play or two just to hear his voice because we miss him.
He's doing a nice job over there.
All right. We'll let you get out and enjoy that game. Sam, thank you for the time today. Really appreciate it.
You betcha, Chris.
All right. There he is, Sam McKewon. Omaha World Herald. Read everything he writes. Listen to every question he asks, because I tell you, he asked some very good, pointed questions. You often ask us, the media, to ask this or that. Believe me when I'm telling you, Sam got as close as you can get to asking those questions today. Go back and listen to the Matt Rhule press conference if you missed it, because it was really good. Let's do a couple things here before we go to break. We got a little bit of space because we couldn't find Sam earlier. I want to do 6 notes from college football. We'll stay on football. I know basketball's going on all around us, and you're desperate to know what's happening with the college basketball games. I couldn't tell you. I can tell you Nebraska is housing Omaha, and USC did not get upset against Ole Miss in Paris. Those are the 2 things I know, and even that's more than I wanted to know. Not that I don't like women's basketball. It's just It's not very exciting yet. I don't care about Nebraska UTRGV tonight. And I know a lot of people, he hates Nebraska basketball. He's always talking trash about Nebraska basketball. I don't care about Creighton versus UTRGV. I don't care about UTRGV. It's too many letters. I'm worried I'm going to stumble over them. So I would rather talk football. Imagine that. A show that likes football. Okay, here's 6 takes I have from the weekend that was in college football. This is the boldest. So don't hold all of these to the same standard. Saturday's loss will cost James Franklin his job. Boy, I've said boy a lot today. That's a crutch I'm having. I don't know where that came from. Running up the middle 3 times and then a bad pass on 4th down was a rough watch, and I had no dog in that fight. Well, I bet Ohio State money line, so I guess I did have a dog in the fight. Cash it. James Franklin calling to win more 50-50 plays in the post-game press conference. That's not going to calm things down in the fan base there. What Ohio State did with that essentially, the most succinct way to describe it is a backup O-line, but you're shuffling guys in and out all the time. There's more than 4 or 5 guys that play in your O-line all the time, but they had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of guys playing positions they didn't normally play. What they were able to do after playing so poorly against Nebraska, 40 carries, and they had that running game humming. Man, that's really impressive from the Ohio State run game. Now, a lot of things about Ohio State were unimpressive in that game, but somebody had to win that game, as we said on Friday's show. Number 2, Georgia. You okay? Georgia beat Florida. I will not say handedly, but they cleaned it up on the scoreboard in the end. Kirby Smart made the right call to not trust Carson Beck to throw the football in the second half. So he made some halftime adjustments. Yeah, other coaches can adjust to things at halftime. It's fine. Carson Beck, 3rd game with 3 interceptions. That's the most of those in the country. You okay, Georgia? This is kind of the time. We've seen Georgia play with their food before and have one bad game and still kind of eke it out. And again, they cleaned this one up on the scoreboard. Again, it's a blood rival. Anything can happen, blah, 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 however you want to excuse it to yourself. This is kind of the time Georgia starts to round into form, and I just don't see it. Florida hung in that game with a 3rd-string quarterback. Not what I want to see from Georgia in the first weekend in November. Number 3, Oregon is approaching wagon status. It doesn't mean they can't lose. It doesn't mean they're going to win the national championship. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship, but they are firing on all cylinders. Remember how you felt about Oregon after weeks 1 and weeks 2? Feels a little different than that now, doesn't it? Number 4, Iowa State turned into a pumpkin. And it actually made me kind of sad. I was kind of rooting for him. I was kind of rooting for him to do it. Go make that college football playoff as the representative from the Big 12. That would be pretty cool. Scored a late touchdown, 2 minutes to go, maybe even less than that. I thought they found a way to win again. But then ultimately fall to Texas Tech. And I'm going to bring this one back. TBB, his dad, very emotional after the win. That was kind of cool to see. A place like Lubbock often gets forgotten in the college football landscape unless they win games like that, where it's just an unbelievable upset. Kansas State lost 2. I wrote in parentheses on my notes, what the hell? Colorado. The Colorado Buffaloes are back in the conversation for the Big 12 title game. That's wild. They've clawed and they fought their way back. They're a much better football team. I hate saying that. Number 5 from Saturday, Are we ready for a Miami SMU ACC title game? Are we ready for a Miami SMU ACC title game to happen solely because neither of those teams played Clemson? Not that Miami couldn't beat Clemson. Miami's scoring 36 points at minimum every game. Most of the time they're scoring 50 points. So not that Miami couldn't beat Clemson, not that SMU couldn't beat Clemson. I don't know. That feels weird saying that out loud. Just an odd scheduling quirk that the two teams that make the ACC title game didn't have to play Clemson. And then finally, you knew this one was coming if you've listened to this show. My guy, Diego Pavia, hates Hugh Freeze with a fiery passion. He's beat that guy 3 times in 3 years. I don't know what it is about Hugh Freeze that Diego Pavia hates, but man, he hates that guy. Diego beat Hugh Freeze's Liberty team while at New Mexico State. And then last year, Diego's still at New Mexico State. Hugh Freeze is at Auburn. Diego goes out there to Alabama and beats Auburn. And then over the weekend, Diego's at Vandy and he goes to Auburn and beats Hugh Freeze again. Diego Pavia teams against Hugh Freeze have won by a combined score of 97-31. This ain't, Hail Mary, Diego Pavia, just a lucky guy. He's beaten the brakes off of Hugh Freeze teams. He's got 11 touchdowns and no interceptions in those 3 games. He's really good against Hugh Freeze, and I understand Hugh Freeze is not a what you would call a world beater as a head coach, but it feels personal. Feels personal between those two. Also, Las Vegas, Vanderbilt plus 7.5 Saturday was a joke, and I thank you for joking around with my money because I took your money. Las Vegas, Vandy plus 7.5 against Hugh Freeze. Come on. Easy money line win for your boy on Saturday. We will step aside. We'll come back. We'll do the poll questions. We'll tell you what to watch. We'll clean up a big, messy Monday show on the Connor Happer Show. No Connor today. Producer Josh in his stead right here on 1620 The Zone.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct claims to be Omaha's best sports radio talk show, but I think we can do better. John Bishop constantly berates and belittles the hardest working, most blue collar of all workers, the officials. How about justice for Evan Burrows? Where was Nick Grimm during 9/11? Building Legos. That's right. Some help. Josh Peterson loves to run. But what are you running from, Josh? The truth? Is this really who you want entertaining you every day? I didn't think so. The right choice is simple. The Connor Happer Show.
Wow. Wow. Just really pointed comments from the big voice guy on those. Tough look for unsportsmanlike conduct. Am I right, guys? Anyway, let's see. Do some housekeeping things here. Connor back tomorrow. He told me, he confided in me over the weekend. He said, "Josh, I'm really upset. I'm not going to be there. I didn't think I was going to have anything to say after this game, and now I have lots of things to say after this game." So you can hear him say those things tomorrow on 1620 The Zone. He's at women's basketball. Women's basketball right now taking on the Omaha Mavericks in their first regular season contest of the year. 73-34, your fourth quarter score, about 6.5 minutes to go in that one. Nebraska won the second quarter 26-4. So hasn't really been close after that. We will tell you what to watch here shortly, but first we head to the Twitter machine. Those beautiful, beautiful poll questions. We had a couple of them today, even without Connor. That's right. NFL legend Andrew Whitworth. I took issue with seeing that commercial on my television. I love that they had the former players go out there and tell everyone, hey, it's important to vote. We need to vote. Voting is important. I like that. But I don't know why they felt the desire to call Andrew Whitworth an NFL legend on his the lower third that welcomed him into the commercial. Could have went with Super Bowl champion. I don't know. I don't know if he's a legend. He's a fashion icon. He's a Super Bowl champion. I don't know if he's an NFL legend. And then finally, at Happer Show, you can vote on these poll questions throughout the day today and tomorrow. Should you ever lose? Oh, I'm at a typo, so I will read it as it is written. Should you ever to lose to a guy named Ethan? I don't think anyone noticed it until I pointed it out just now. 76% of the audience said, no, you should never lose to a guy named Ethan. About 71% of the audience said no to NFL legend Andrew Whitworth. So it's nice to know that we are all on the same page when it comes to those two hot button issues. I did remember a couple more just little housekeeping things to take care of here with you all before we get out of here. 1620 The Zone. We are proud to team with the United States Marine Corps and Toys for Tots. We're doing Stuff the Truck again this year. If you want to plan ahead, it is December 6th and December 7th. We're going to do it right here at the station parking lot. You can bring that new unwrapped toy, and we'll all support Toys for Tots. If you don't have, like, hey, I'm a working guy, Josh. I don't have time to get to your crummy station and drop my toy off. What can I do? Well, Monday through Friday, we're a business, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now and the 10th of December, you can drop that off whenever it's convenient for you. It doesn't have to be December 6th or 7th, but we will be helping you take it out of your vehicle in the parking lot on December 6th and 7th. And the other thing, we'll get to the what to watch, but the one thing I do want to point out, if you go to our website, it doesn't necessarily look a little different, but if you dig in there, you can find the 1620 The Zone. Go to our YouTube page, I believe is where this is located. You can go to our YouTube page and find the first of many 25th anniversary interviews. We have begun to leak those out to the public here today. Gary sat down with Neil Nelkin for the first installment. I believe the 3 of them are going to come out this week. Kevin Kugler on Friday, Gary Java on Wednesday. I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling everyone all this, but I'm going to, because I'm very proud of these. Nick Grimm, we bust his chops a lot, but he really busted his hump and did a great job to get these out to you. So I wanted to make sure and commend him for his hard work there. I think if you've been a longtime listener of this station, you're going to be fascinated by all the different interviews we have coming up for you over the next month or so. Finally, what to watch? NFL. The Buccaneers are at Arrowhead tonight. Kansas City Chiefs hosting Monday Night Football. Dylan Raiola will be in attendance? Question mark. He was supposed to be. I don't know if he will be. 7:15 start on ESPN, ESPN2, ABC, and 1620 The Zone. The Manning cast guests include Bill Belichick, Jason Sudeikis, and Maria Taylor. That's what we know. Here's what we don't know. How long will this game take to play? It's supposed to be very, very wet and rainy in Kansas City tonight. They have quietly informed stations carrying the game, hey, it's going to rain. We might break in and out of this game. There might be some long delays. So bear with us tonight, as if I may paraphrase what they said to us. So they're going to get the game in. It might take a while. I don't know. So that's what to look forward to tonight there. College football playoff rankings reveal show is on ESPN. It's got to be on ESPN2 tonight. I'll be honest. I forgot about it and had to scramble to remember that it was on because there's so much basketball on. Listen to these barn burners we got today on your television. BTN 5 o'clock. Number 14 Purdue hosts Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Maine travels to number 6 Duke at 6 o'clock tonight on ACC Network. That's followed by number 9 UNC hosting Elon. UTRGV takes on Nebraska at Pinnacle Bank 7 o'clock tonight on BTN Plus. There's a Las Vegas game. Creighton, no stranger to games in Las Vegas. They will play many of them this month. But there's one tonight on TNT, True TV, or Max, whichever you prefer. 9 o'clock tip-off. Boy, that's really late. Ohio State and number 19 Texas play each other. But there's more on ESPN2 tonight at 10:30. Number 8 Baylor against number 6 Gonzaga. What a great game. But it starts at 10:30 at night. That's right. Is it a great game if no one's awake to watch it? I don't know. We'll find out. It's going to be Jacob Bigelow and Michael Bruntz watching Baylor and Gonzaga tonight. And, of course, on FS1, I believe this has become kind of an annual tradition for them. It is Big East opening night. It starts at 5. It ends at 9:30-ish. They'll just kind of whip around the Big East schools that are playing. Obviously, Creighton not in action tonight, but a lot of the Big East favorites are in action, and they'll do some whip around coverage there. I'm sure Johnny Fanta will be all over your screen tonight if you're on FS1. Women's basketball, number 17 Louisville against number 5 UCLA. That's about to start any minute on ESPN. That is the second game in the women's side that will be from Paris. USC avoided the upset against Ole Miss earlier today. And then 6:30 on TNT, number 1 South Carolina takes on Michigan. That game is in Vegas. Same spot, same event that the Texas and Ohio State men are at there. NBA doubleheader on NBA TV tonight. Bucks Cavs at 6 o'clock, followed at 9:15 by Sixers Suns. It is expected to be the season debut for Paul George. See, he only missed 5 games. It's fine. He'll play the other ones. It's fine, guys. I don't know what Sixers fans are worried about. Oh, the team's 1-4. That's right. Hockey on NHL Network tonight, 7:30. The New Jersey Devils. Watch out for them Devils now. See, I got to do both parts of the bit. In Edmonton to take on Connor McDavid and the Oilers. 9 o'clock tonight on NBC. It is the 2024 SNL election special. If that is your bag, revisit fan favorite political sketches from the late night comedy series. As long as they play that one where Phil Hartman was a jogging President Bill Clinton and went to the McDonald's and talked about warlords the whole time while stealing everyone's French fries and cheeseburgers. As long as I play that one, I'm fine. I don't need anyone other. I'll watch that one on YouTube tonight. I don't need anything else other than that. Thank you for tuning in today. Again, Connor's back tomorrow. We got USC about to walk in. We'll do a little crossover next on 1620 The Zone.